and successors according to law. So help me God.
It's happened before, but it is nonetheless still rather extraordinary that somebody who was only elected or officially sworn in as an MP less than 24 hours ago, in 3 weeks' time, is going to be running the country.
Yes, I think it is rather extraordinary. I think the issue isn't whether someone like that should automatically have to hold a general election. If Andy Burnham wants to introduce major changes to our constitution, he's talked about overhauling the House of Lords. He's also talked about overhauling our electoral system, bringing in some form of PR. I think if he wants to do any of those things, he needs a mandate from the public to do them. To try and do them without calling an election, I think, would be a constitutional outrage.
I've got an interesting tweet. There's always a tweet, Julia.
Yep.
If I can just read this out to you from Andy Burnham 3 years ago. We need to start demanding a general election at the end of this Tory leadership election. Well, well, well. That was Andy Burnham actually 4 years ago in 2022. So we're saying stick by your word, be consistent, Andy, and when you're Prime Minister, call a general election.
The battle is really on, though, for number 11. Who's going to be the Chancellor? Ed Miliband, don't forget, has played an integral key role in this coup, and it is a coup because no one apart from 25,000 good people in Makerfield have voted for this guy. Yeah. So he's played a pretty integral role in undermining Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer and Ed Miliband aren't really speaking. He's going to want a big reward. But, he is, probably the most left-wing person in the government, and he will spook the markets.
Lou Hay, I mean, the reality is, look, she served her time. She was cast out of government. The reality is, as you said, she has been central to his campaign. She was central to his campaign in Makerfield. More broadly, she's been central to his campaign to enter Downing Street. He owes her, and she will definitely get a role. I'm not.
What do you say to the people that have texted me in their droves this morning? This is a really a corny sentence, but it's true. That lawbreakers can't be lawmakers, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, but the reality is she's going to get a job. So the answer is yes, they can.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Now, before you say anything, yes, it's a Friday, and yes, it's day 5 on the bounce. This is the new me. Good morning, welcome to... Good morning, welcome to Talk Breakfast, the home of common sense and the home, of course, of you, the alarm clock Brit. I just want to say, I'm not moaning, the heat waves are going to continue, certainly in this bloody studio. I don't understand it. It's either freezing cold or boiling hot. This morning I'll be bored like a bag of cod. Anyway, if I start getting sweaty, let us know. Welcome to Friday. Much to be said and much to be done. The team are here. No Big Mark. We've got Small Sam this morning. It's just a vicious rumour. He is the man. He's pushing all the buttons, ladies and gentlemen. Sholope, taking your phone calls. 0344 499 1000. Your text to 87222. And get those voice notes in nice and early because today is a very, very important day. Yesterday we said bon voyage, au revoir and adios to Sir Keir Starmer. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we say... hello, bonjour, namaste, ciao, konnichiwa, hola, whatever you want, to Andy Burnham. Oh, sorry, I meant Burnham. Yes, he's here. The King of the North heading south. He'll probably get a nosebleed. He's going to become Labour leader. Just sent in. 10 weeks ago, he was nothing. Now he's going to be the Labour leader today and Prime Minister on Monday. And now he's going to set out his vision today. I don't know if you've seen it in every single newspaper. Basically... he says, I am going to be distinctly more Labour, that means socialist, than any government before me. My government will have the courage to fix the big things that politics has neglected. Great words from the manicured Mancunian, but before he's even started, it's all gone a bit wrong. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, say, seriously, we're not lending you anymore. Stop spending, because you've got no money. That's good. So all the things you promised, there's no way we're going to give you the money. Well, now he's going to raise it. Oh, that'll be tax. The left are up in arms, and he hasn't even started. Make Ed Miliband Chancellor. We don't like these rumours about Mahmood, or we'll start revolting. You are revolting. You're the left. Anyway, it's going to be interesting. So we thought, as a bit of fun, 3 days till the King of the North, a man that we know nothing about really politically, we don't have any detail, till he swoops into Downing Street with his wife and children. Nice. What would be your sort of welcome message? Your welcome message for Andy Burnham? It's a banana again. I do apologise. I only have bananas. Banana's the prize. Microphone's come out, sweating like a pig already. There's the banana for the best message on text or voice note for Andy Burnham. People tuning in going, why has Jeremy Kyle got a banana by his mouth? More of Charlie Rowley in a minute. Now, if you... So your welcome message to Andy Burnham, 87222. What are you saying? Oh, Andy Burnham has indeed started letting us know about himself. I apologise, because yesterday he posted this. Have a watch. Morning, Andy.
Yeah, all that. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that it softens the tea bag a bit and makes it stronger. Might be wrong. I know that will offend a lot of people, but there'll be no legislation to ban that.
Milk first in tea. He puts the milk in with the tea bag before he puts the water in. Can't be Prime Minister for me. What's your welcome message? It's bonjour, hello, ciao, konnichiwa, hola, and namaste to Andy Burnham. Or, Jesus, do we really know what's coming? Do you think there'll be a point when any of us go, I miss the indecisive nasal night? Probably not. But talking of him, I was on the golf course with my son yesterday. I wasn't playing, I was following, that's all I do. In one final up yours to the country, Keir Starmer, a man who disagreed with life peerages, despite the fact he's called Sir Keir Starmer, gave Sadiq Khan... I can't do this. I can't. Sadiq Khan was given a peerage yesterday by Keir Starmer in his exit list of honours, 16 of them. So the man that has destroyed London, and by the way, I'd love to interview him because he's, well, we've done so much for equality. Yeah, you haven't done much for knife crime, have you? You haven't done much for crime. That's it. So what are we going to call him? Lord Ulez? That's another one. Sadiq Khan. What would you call him? Lord what? Oh, I can't wait. Won't to read any of them. Sadiq Khan gets a knighthood. Let's do that. And apparently we're still picking ourselves up after the England defeat. I love The Sun. I love everything about it. But the headline in The Sun today sums up what's wrong with the United Kingdom. 693 days till we get to the Euros. I don't care. Thomas Tuchel, get rid of him. Get in Pep Guardiola. Have you seen all this stuff about the flag and everything? The banner that... I don't care. It's over. It's done. Oh, dear, I don't want to read that. Oh, and also, yes, this will be dreadful if you're trying to go away for a nice weekend. It's the beginning of what they call Factory Fortnight north of Watford Gap. I said that down here and they'll look at me like it's mad. Summer getaway starts. 14 million journeys will be made this weekend. Where are you heading? Trying to get home? I don't know. Let me know. So that, my friends, is Friday. Burnham's on the way. Starmer's on the other way. What would your welcome message be for him? And Starmer gives Sir Sadiq Khan a night... Was he Sir before and is becoming a Lord? So he's been a Sir and now he's a Lord. Lord... 87222, start your message with the word people. We say a very good morning to my hinge. I'm his bracket, his hinge. I didn't say the wrong word. A man who's had his hair cut by the council, it seems. Charlie Rowley, what's happened? What's happened to your hair?
Well, it's a bit severe, isn't it?
It is a bit severe. I mean, you're an hello, to be honest.
Well,
what's going on?
That's the way I was going to greet you, asking for those sort of different ways of saying... Well, I was going to say hello.
Oh, hello.
Bonjour,
ciao.
Ciao.
Konnichiwa.
Absolutely.
Hola.
Hola.
Namaste. Pretty good, isn't it?
Well, it's a very nice day.
What would your welcome message be to Andy Burnham? Look at his face.
Well, good luck, because, you know...
need it.
And who are you? You know, what Burnham are you for the country? Because you've
Are you going to crash and burn them?
Are you going to crash and burn them?
Did you like that?
I love that. I thought that was very good. Because he's been a Blairite, he's been a Brownite, he's been a Corbynite. He's been a
Blairite and a Brownite.
A Brownite, a Corbynite. He's obviously backed Starmer
he's
up
not
until
a
a point until he stabbed him in the front backside.
He's a Stalignite.
He's a which Burnham? You know, will the real Andy Burnham please stand up?
There's a song there.
Come to the
front.
front.
Please, Andy Burnham, please stand up. For the real...
Reveal yourself.
I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm quite full of beans for a Friday.
You are. No,
87222, start your message with the word talk. We've talked about your hair. What has happened?
So I have a very nice barber on the high street where I live who is very good, but sometimes it's just he leaves it a bit too long. Even when I say, don't worry, it's summer, it grows back really quickly, just can you take
You
a
look
bit
like
more?
you're about to be conscripted in the Second World War. I don't know what's going on.
And I just said to him, he said, well, what
Is it just barbering that he does? Is it barber shop or any other?
Well, I've got no idea, but anyway, he obviously took me at my word when I said, "Can you just take the sides off and the back, and just go for a skin?"
You've got very
fade,
nice
skin
ears, by the way. Could I just say that?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, they do stand out now,
Yeah.
obviously, because I've got
Mine
no
are
hair. Because
huge.
I've basically got no hair.
No, but it's okay. You look fine. And I think a shaven, I think a bald Charlie Rhodey is quite an attractive thing. Anyway, Hinge is here. We'd love to hear from you. 0344 499 1000 for your voice notes or
About to
whatever.
give out my mobile number.
Yes,
though.
I was about to give out your mobile number. 078. No, shush. Have I heard that story? I was once on television and somebody was talking about security codes and I literally said it on national television. I always use my birthday for my credit cards. And the editor went, "What is wrong with you, you complete idiot?" Anyway, let's get to it. Andy Burnham is arriving. And already, on a serious note, he's being warned by the left that Miliband must be the Chancellor. I heard Harpoon Harriet Harman the other day, Harpic she was called, wasn't she? She said, he'll be able to hit the ground running. Yeah, absolutely. All running well that he'll to increase taxes. And also the IMF are saying, we're not lending any more money. I mean, it's a poison chalice, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the markets will never, I don't think, have Ed Miliband as Chancellor because they know the risk that provides. He's been leader of the opposition. He set out a platform in 2015 about taxing more, spending more, borrowing more. The markets know what Ed Miliband stands for, and he's been the blocker of economic growth under Keir Starmer's reign for the last 2 years. He has...
Net zero's destroyed us financially.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he has tried to spin us a fast one by saying, well, we've taken £300 off your energy bills.
No, my energy bill's gone up, you liar, Miliband.
And energy bills have gone up, exactly, because the regulator has put up the cap, which means that we're all paying more for our energy bills than what we were 2 years ago. So he has failed to deliver. He's failed to win public opinion. He's failed to win over the markets. And he would be someone that I just think wants to... who would... Red Ed, that's what we know him for.
I know what I would do, because there is absolutely no doubt that Ed Miliband has sway in the political party. If I was Andy Burnham, and I would never be Andy Burnham, I said it yesterday, you weren't here, I would make him Foreign Secretary. I can't bear the thought of that odious man representing us abroad. But that would be seen to him and his allies as a promotion. I'll have him away from the cabinet table on abroad trips as much as possible. I really, really would.
Yeah, no, and I think that's something that's been touted, and whether he'd take it or not, I'm sure he would take it because it is a promotion. It's not a bad role. I mean...
And then they're talking about Mahmood to Chancellor, right? But then who becomes Home Secretary? Because wasn't he vowing to make more women? Well, you're not going to give that to Yvette Cooper because she failed miserably, Mrs Balls, as the Home Secretary.
Well...
she made an Ed up of it, didn't she? You see what I did there?
Well, and this was the...
Balls up, Ed, yeah.
Totally. But this was the woman who was the chair of the Home Affairs Select Committee for years, who then became the Shadow Home Secretary, someone that should know all there is about the Home Office, who should have been able to get a grip of stopping the small boats crisis, and she did nothing of the kind.
Let's make a prediction, and we'll do it on air, and I'll be wrong. I think what will happen absolutely is Ed Miliband will be Foreign Secretary, Shabana Mahmood will be Chancellor, and Wes Streeting will be the Home Secretary. That is what I think will happen.
Yep. I think that's not a bad shout.
And I think that Yvette Cooper will be given Deputy Leader of the Labour Party and something else. That's what I genuinely think. I think Rayner will come back to housing. But let's not forget, as we say bonjour, hello, ciao, konnichiwa, namaste and hola to Andy Burnham, he's also going to bring back a convicted fraudster in Louise Haigh, a woman who's run his campaign, who's done all the graft, a woman who was thrown out of the Labour cabinet, 14 months ago, because she didn't tell anybody that she got a police record for saying her mobile phone had been nicked when it hadn't. That's extraordinary. Oh, God, listen, we're working, it's 6:15. Angry Rob, you know Angry Rob?
I do, yes.
He's first at it this morning. Morning, Rob.
Rob again, on my way to work. Charlie, going to barbers, grade 2, all over. Shave it off, son. Come on, it's summertime. Get that all over glow. And remember what your granddad used to say, there's only 2 weeks between a bad haircut and a good one.
Is that it? Nothing political at all. It's brilliant.
Grade 2 all over.
What do you... Well, you see, I don't do that. I don't... You know, what does that mean?
That just means it's all one length, and it means that I've become a bit of a
But you look like a Sistine monk the way it is this morning. I'm slightly worried. I mean, it's all a bit... It is all a bit heavy on top and nothing round the... It looks like somebody's put a sort of omelette on your head, to be honest.
But the reason why...
It's not working, is it?
But can I say that... I mean...
Say whatever. It's your show. It's your hour.
Well, something I would say to you, you know, private, but also, you know, the reason why I love you so much, and I do, because for 2 days when I've had this haircut, people have been very nice, and they've said, oh, nice haircut, nice haircut.
But you don't like it. I know you too well. You're not happy with it, and I can tell. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
So do you want your friends or people to go, oh, you look lovely, or go, God, that is crap?
I want the truth.
Yeah,
and that's why I love you. And that's why I love you.
Bless
and that's why I love you.
Keith, good morning. Morning, gang. Here's a message for Burnham, same as the one Liam Byrne left the Tories. There's no bloody money left, and we know what's happening, says Keith in Nottingham. Tax, tax, tax. That's the reality. You can't promise so much, as Andy Burnham undoubtedly will, because he will be a hostage to the Labour Party, to the left. Can't cut welfare, must increase defence, can't do this. Where you get the money from? Hello to David Hackett. I can't believe that Keir Starmer's made Sir Sadiq Lord Khan. He should be called Lord Help Us. Can you believe Sadiq Khan's going to be a Lord? What's that? Makes a mockery, doesn't it?
Well, when there was when you said the word Hackett there, I thought you were referring into my haircut. I thought someone's had a bit of a Hackett job.
They have.
But I mean, Sadiq Khan has been the most hopeless, useless mayor that I think we've ever had.
You got a terrible mayor. He's not a nice mayor. Welcome question to Andy Vermin. Who will you blame when the money runs out? Yeah, that's true. Is he going to blame Starmer or the Tories? Rogers in Wales, Lord Carnage. I like that. Morning, Jess. Andy Birdbrain, welcome message. How did you get the job and how long will you be in it? Lord Eustace of Crime, says Guy in Scotland. You lot aren't helping. Pete says, I would like to ask Burnham to save the British public some money and ask Farage how he'd like number 10 decorated. Melanie says, welcome note to Burnham. Sorry, there's nothing left. Christina, message to Burnham. General election as soon as possible. Let the people decide. Margaret, morning in Birmingham. JK and the gorgeous Charlie. Starmer yet again manages to wind us all up by making that, a lord. Song for Starmer as he leaves number 10. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. He'll end up in some international job, won't he?
Well, he wanted to become the head of NATO. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
But the irony, you know, telling us in the UK or going up to European nations, you know, no end, all these trips, going up to Donald Trump and saying that we're going to spend 3%, maybe 2.5% at the end of the next Parliament, and then, so not spending on defence, basically, failing to fund our own defences, then wants to become the head of NATO to tell everyone else, you've got to stump up the cash.
Brett's in Basingstoke. Have you been to Basingstoke?
I have been to Basingstoke.
Here's my welcome to Andy Burnham, would be, why don't you pack your bags, your eyelashes and the bags under your eyes and disappear back to Manchester where you came from? We don't want your rubbish here. Can I just defend Andy Burnham? The man created the Beam Manchester bus line, and it's a very, very impressive bus system. Morning, Andy.
Morning, Jez. Andy, North Yorkshire here. Alarm clock Brit up at 4 on my way to my first job. Here's my message for Andy Burnham. I would say, turn your lights off on the way out, mate. Ed Moribund's already done that for all of us. Cheerio.
Ed Moribund. So, what is your message for Andy Burnham, the King of the North, coming south on his penny farthing today? It'll be great. He's coming down to Westminster to become leader of Labour Party, and on Monday, unchallenged. Unchallenged. That's important. Not having to address Parliament for the next 6 weeks is disgraceful. He will become our new Prime Minister. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on Keir Starmer's final act of treachery is to make Sadiq Khan a lord? What do you call him? Lord Fauntleroy? Lord... I hate him, but I'm not allowed to say that, am I? No, I don't hate him. I just dislike what he hasn't done. Do you know what I really dislike? I was walking in a tube the other day, and I tried to give him a chance when I started, and I'm walking along, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but they painted Employee of the Week, Employee of the Month, Employee of the Year. And it's obviously a diverse tactic, which is interesting, because there's people from all walks of life. Not all walks of life. But anyway, most of the walks of life were there, but not ones that I would see would probably be 95% of the walks of life, but I will say that. It's the temerity of a man who says that London has the least crime in Europe. It is absolutely a lie. And that is why people get so angry. We can argue about ULEZ. Lord ULEZ would be great, I think. We can argue about that. We can argue about the way that he never seems to be able to read the room. But the truth is, crime in London, knife crime, has exploded under Sadiq Khan, and he refuses. I've seen Susan Hall try and question him. He refuses to even acknowledge it, Charlie, doesn't he?
Absolutely. And the two things that are the most telling about this individual, this man, this mayor, nightmare, is that
Bit like your haircut.
When now I know who to blame.
Sadiq Khan arranged for my barber to mess my hair up. I'm sweating this morning. It's hot in here.
But the two things that really stand out to me is that when you see phone theft explode, absolutely like knife crime, as you say, his response is to have a bit of paint plastered across pavements that just says, mind the grab. A play on words for mind the gap, as if that's the solution.
He does that?
Mind the grab. That was a campaign that the Mayor of London funded, painted most of Oxford Street, which had the words on, mind the grab. Basically telling you, mind that your phone might get stolen.
So you're looking down and reading that, and somebody comes up behind you, nicks your phone or removes your watch.
Exactly. And to your point...
And he's the Mayor of London.
This is the Mayor of London. That is his response. That is shocking. That's not putting more officers on the beat. That's not dealing with the issues that London faces. And to your point also about Susan Hall, and, you know, great woman, I think, in the London Assembly. You know, a man who categorically denied that there was any kind of grooming gang scandal in London when she challenged him. He was smirking, he laughed at her basically and said, you don't know what you're talking about, it's not in London.
Very disrespectful.
And where is the inquiry going? It's going to the north of England, it's going to not Rochdale actually, which it should do. Rotherham. But there's a couple of other places. Keighley is one of the key parts, which is going to, and London. And that was a shock, I think, for the Mayor, because he has been denying throughout.
Well, I do try, despite some people saying I don't. I do try and balance it. Sadiq Khan points out recently that knife crime in London has experienced a notable decline, he reported a 17% drop in recorded knife offences in the capital.
Absolutely. Recorded crime, because people are not reporting it, because it's gone through the roof, and if it's not... and people won't report it to the police. Why would you report things to the police nowadays in central London?
Well, the only reason that most people nowadays would report a crime is to get a crime number, to get insurance. I don't think there is much more that is given, sadly. But that's... Listen, we're all entitled to our opinion, but I actually haven't met anybody. I mean, I have lots of mates who are cabbies. Their lives have been decimated by Sadiq Khan, who's going to be a lord. Adam from Surrey, Jez, Khan a lord. This is utterly outrageous. I think it's Starmer's way of putting two fingers up at Trump. Great show. Might be, actually. That's a good idea. JB in Aberdeenshire. Ah, Charlie, someone else who has a vertically challenged barber. Getting a lot of response this morning. If you are watching on YouTube, Hair Flick is here. Hello. It is... it is awful. Hopefully... I'm joking. And Christian's now joining in. Off the back of Charlie's haircut, what else has gone wrong for you in the last 24 hours, team? So there you've got it. How would you welcome Andy Burnham? We say bonjour, allo, ciao, namaste, konnichiwa, nola. What would you say? What would you... Sadiq Khan being a lord. And... Charlie Rowley's haircut, what's gone wrong for you in the last 24 hours? This is a way to get through a Friday. God, it's hot in here. Can somebody blow me? Can somebody get me something to blow? Oh, be quiet. Back in 3.
she's the best-looking world leader in my book, so I wouldn't fall out with her. I quite fancy Georgia. When she's not busy running the country, perhaps we could hook up.
Well, you do know she's single because her partner tried to have a threesome, and that got leaked to the media, and they had to get a divorce. So she's back on the market.
She's on the market, right?
Oh.
Right, get me a ticket
for a threesome as well.
I'll get in trouble with my wife about this. Next question.
UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back to 6:26. I'm even more agitated now because my good friend Chris Evans has just walked past the studio and waved because he's going to his air-conditioned studio, and I'm sweating like I've got parts of me that are dripping.
Well.
I'm
speechless. No,
there's
I
a
don't know what to say.
Welcome to Talk Breakfast, Hinge and Bracket on until 7. The Jeremy Kyle Breakfast Show on the home of Common Sense. So here's the thing. Andy Burnham today, we'll say hello to him, or we're trying to be as... We're trying to be as politically correct as possible. We want to know what your welcome message would be for Andy Burnham, the brand new Labour leader, the King of the North, the manicured Mancunian. We obviously will say bonjour, hello, 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 ciao, konnichiwa, hola, namaste. Do you sound quite good at that?
You're very good.
What would your welcome message be to Andy Burnham? 0344 499 1000, text to 87222. Before he's even got to the work, I was just watching Benedict on some other shows, on our show later. Before he even gets to the job, there's a left-wing revolt. You've got to make Miliband the Chancellor. The IMF are saying there's no money. Keir Starmer left yesterday. Many people crying. Tears of joy. He's decided to make Sadiq Khan a Lord. What do you think Lord he should be? Unbelievable. And then, of course, the other big news is, which people are still talking about, is the England football result. On the front of the Sun today, only 693 days to go to the Euros. I haven't spoken to you about the football. You're you're an Arsenal fan.
I am, and obviously a big England fan, and I was disappointed to say the least. And I think everybody was.
This is on Tuchel, isn't it? Tuchel. It is.
Totally. And the reason why I'm so angry about it is because I was actually starting to like the bloke. Because I've always been of the opinion that I think we should have an English manager.
Completely agree, Eddie Howe, but you know who I want now?
Absolutely, yeah.
I want Pep Guardiola. If Jurgen Klopp can go to Germany and spend 4 months a year instead of 12, spend whatever you've got to with my blessing, FA, and get the greatest manager this country has seen for a long, long while, Pep Guardiola. Are you telling me when Argentina brought on 5 attackers that Pep Guardiola would have put on 6 defenders? Not on your life.
Yeah.
Tactically, if that's the best, really, that we're getting for £8 million a year, not good enough for me.
And you've got to put your money where your mouth is. This is a guy that's talked up the team to say that you need to go for it, you need to be hungry, you need to go on the attack.
Slagged off Gareth Southgate for being too defensive.
For being too defensive. And, you know, this is a team, by the way, Argentina, that went 2-0 down to Egypt.
Yeah.
And I know they came back and they got through, but this was a team for the taking. This was Argentina, and going 1-0 up. You go for it. You keep going.
I've never seen her so angry.
But then to sit there and watch 35 minutes of just defence, and we've got great defenders. Don't get me wrong. But
it's never going to work. You don't say to the best footballer in the world, you can have the ball for 25 minutes. Just you ping it around and do whatever you want.
But how everyone could see that, and not Tuchel is, well, it's so frustrating.
If you just tuned in at 6:30, it's a Friday. Jeremy Kyle is on breakfast, 5 days on the bounce, and I'm joined by Hinge, Charlie Rowley, who, if you are watching on YouTube, has had an argument with a lawnmower. His haircut is something out of hello, and Christian's getting involved. He says off the back of Charlie's appalling haircut, what's gone wrong for you in the last 24 hours? 87222. This voice note, is it Andy on Charlie or Charlie on Andy? Because you've... And Charlie on... You see, if you put Burnham, I thought it was the other way around. Morning, Charlie.
Morning, Jez. It's Charlie and George again on our way to work, helping to pay that 40 billion welfare bill. With Sadiq Khan being appointed to the House of Lords, what worries me is that this could be a backdoor for Sadiq Khan to enter the cabinet, because he is a member of the House of Lords now. He doesn't have to be an MP. That way, we'd have 2 left-wing, unelected, I won't say the word, people running the country. Have a good day, have a good weekend, everybody. Over and out.
Well, I was going to have a good weekend.
I mean, yeah.
Tell me that's not feasible, is it?
He could, if he's in the Lords, he could be in the cabinet. If Andy Burnham
Sadiq
appointed
Khan?
him, he could be in. He could be.
I'm leaving. I'm going to Argentina, where at least I can support a football team. Really?
The only
it's worse. This country.
But the only
sweating more now.
Well, but the only. I mean, we don't know yet, but the only good thing that could come of this is the fact that then if Sadiq Khan is in the House of Lords, of which there are many people, far too many people, in my view, does that mean that he's therefore not then going to run for the Mayor of London for a fourth term? I would welcome that. I would rather him be in the semi-retirement home of the House of Lords rather than running out.
Why should he get £363 tax-free a day for 150 days, £45,000? I think he should donate that to charity. He's already getting 170 grand and earns more than the Prime Minister as the Mayor. He's got 2 Range Rovers and
anything to get him out of City Hall is what I
Has Charlie got an Argentinian barber, says Kev in Southampton. But my favourite is Keith in Oster Street, who says, you really need to fess up and admit you've had your ears lowered. which is brilliant.
Guilty as charged.
Mike says about Andy Burnham, hi Andy, welcome. Don't take your coat off, you won't be here that long. Bill's in Cheshire, Charlie's hair hack. No worries, that look is coming back. Well, if they reintroduce conscription. There's a lot of people who don't like the haircut. Hi Jez, hi Chaz. A title for Sadiq Khan. Most people would say Lord for sake. Quite right, Keith in Nottingham. Julian's in Newport. Have you been to Newport?
No, I've been through it.
Burnham is a joke, telling us about his tea-bagging habits. Don't start. In an interview with Gary Lineker, was it? It was with Gary Lineker, of course it was. If he's been planning to be PM for so long, how come he doesn't know his team yet? He's trying to be all things to all people. He will fail badly because, please, can somebody save us? Yeah, that's interesting, all things to all people, which all politicians tend to end up trying to do. Most England managers try and do it, don't they? We won't attack, we'll just defend. Good morning, Jezza, and the fabulous Charlie Rowley. It's great to see you both on this Friday morning. Sadiq is Lord Farquhar from Shrek, is that right? Farquhar, did I say that right? Farquhar. 4 foot tall and a 6 foot suit of armour. Brilliant. I bet Sadiq Khan didn't have any issues understanding the question about going into the House of Lords. As for Andy Vermin, my question would be, when is my bus due? Yes, we can look forward to yellow buses in the capital. Have you been on a bee bus in Manchester?
I haven't. I've been on the tram, but that's been there for some time. The tram system, which obviously works in Manchester, it wouldn't work
I
here.
used to go in a chauffeur-driven car. I know there's not much made up for this sort of getting onto these buses, but I'm sure it's lovely. I'm joking. Morning, Jez. Morning, Charlie. My suggestion for Khan's appointment, Lord help us. That's Bertie in North Norfolk. I don't know why I've done an accent like that. I bet Sadiq Khan... Oh, we've done that one. 87222. Start your message with the word talk. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we can also take your voice notes and your calls on 0344 499 1000. A couple of other things about... we've done Burnham. We've talked about the warnings already for him, the reality. We've also talked about Sadiq Khan. We've talked about England. There's a story I want to talk about, which is on page 1 of the Mail, which sends me into literally... I don't even know, OK, how I'm supposed to read this. Ministers last night, ladies and gentlemen, signed off £153 million in aid for Pakistan, despite that country refusing to take back grooming gang boss Shabir Ahmed. The Foreign Office slipped out figures revealing the bumper package for the next 3 years, despite Downing Street's claim that it was doing everything possible to deport Ahmed. He was released from prison last month after serving just 14 years of a 41-year concurrent sentence for, let's just have it, raping over 50 young, innocent white girls. The aid cash caused outrage and came as Islamabad blamed Britain for its sickening crimes. Oh, for his sickening crimes. It's our fault. The Pakistan's foreign ministry said it's down to us. We're responsible for his crimes, we should house him, and we're going to get 150 million quid off you. Can you explain to me, before I literally explode, how the hell is that allowed? How's the reality to that?
Well, it's inexplicable and it doesn't add up because when, as you say, Downing Street, number 10, will say that they've done everything that they can.
Stop aid, stop visas, stop everything.
Exactly. That's something that they can do. And you know what? If it is someone in the Foreign Office saying, OK, we've got this agreement or we've got this deal in place where we will be sending aid to Pakistan and that has to continue, and you get some lawyer that turns up to say, no, Foreign Secretary or number 10, you know, we might have a bit of a legal battle on our case if we don't. Tough. Exactly.
Tough. You're not getting my money. I'm putting him on a plane. I'm the minister. I'm landing him in Islamabad, and I don't give a toss. And I'm not giving you the 153 million. And I'm going to do trade. I'm going to do whatever I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's almost like we're being done. Excuse my French. In every single way possible.
Totally.
Literally, I can't. We're so soft, and the reason I get angry, right, is a succession of ministers, prime ministers, officials don't seem to be able to grasp that all the people that are listening right now are out paying tax for what? To give 150 million quid to a country that won't take a grooming paedophile, heinous human being back. We've paid for him to be in prison. Now they're saying it's our problem.
Yep, absolutely. If a lawyer comes to you and says in the Foreign Office, and this is in Whitehall, that says, you know, you can't do it, well, get a better lawyer. You know, or get a different lawyer, because they'll be...
It's like the ECHR, everybody else ignores it. I just go, bring it on. Do you know what? If you want to sue me, but I'm putting him on a plane and I am stopping giving you any money.
Exactly.
Because I tell you what the British people would say. The British people would say, yes, somebody's putting us first. But politicians don't seem to have either the balls or the gumption or the I don't know, the brains to see that, Charlie.
No, because they get captured by Whitehall officials, by civil servants, by lawyers, and they go home, they take their red boxes home every night, and they go through all this paperwork that says to them, this is the advice minister, if you do this, could be legal ramifications, that could cost an arm and a leg. Well, too bad. But we're not doing it.
I'll give an arm to get rid of him.
We're not giving... Well, exactly. But the idea that Pakistan also is saying, OK, we might even, just on the fringes, consider taking this man back, but we want some political prisoners, or we want you to release some other prisoners from that you've got in UK prison.
I'm not trading with you.
It's not a negotiation.
I'm not trading with you. I'm not giving you 150 million quid.
Yeah.
He's your problem, and he's landing in Islamabad tomorrow morning. If you don't like that, you can shove it where the sun don't shine.
Quite right. Because
I don't understand. I'll send a plane with four English jets. We haven't got four, have we? One. But I'm being serious.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if the Prime Minister of Pakistan wants to sort of, you know, jump up and down and say how terrible they get, fine, do it. You know, it doesn't... I don't care.
Our standing on the international stage is an all-time low. Well, I think, you know, whatever you think about Trump, it's about time we put Britain first, isn't it?
Quite right. Well, can you imagine if this was Donald Trump in the UK? God. If he was handling something like that, there'd be no argument at all.
Can we ring the White House and try and get his thoughts on Sadiq Khan being made a law? That would be... I can't wait for that question. Can you imagine somebody... Are you as hot as I am?
Oh no! I think you're
I'm sorry, I don't like to moan, but I am sweaty. Morning, Boz.
Morning, JK. Travelling Boz here. Yeah. Okay. So he's given his mate a peerage. He gave him a knighthood about a year ago. Now he's a lord. Okay. As for Burnham, well, I tell you what, we're going to replace one robotic fella, Starmer. I'm here to lead the country. We're going to replace that robot with a puppet from Thunderbirds, and he'll be able to do that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 quite easily because he looks the part.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Go on.
Well, welcome back. This is Breakfast with Jeremy Kyle and me, Charlie Rowley. Jeremy Kyle is just being blown by a fan opposite me here, live on national radio and television, and I'm getting even hotter just watching you, I have to say.
Apparently, I'm not allowed to use this because of the microphone. But I have to tell you, it's tropical in here. It's 85 degrees now.
It is.
I don't know how to turn this off.
It is hot in here. You're absolutely right.
You make it hotter.
The conditions we work under, Jeremy.
My question to Burnham, says Graham Pack, is will you close down those rogue barber shops, especially the one that destroyed Charlie's hair, says Graham in Bushy. Can you imagine opening his first box, red box, as Prime Minister? Shut down Charlie Rowley's
my barnet.
Do we want to talk about... where is the barber?
It's in Pimlico.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that started again without me pushing the button. That was a bit strong. Let's take a... Oh, he's back. Angry Rob's back. Morning, Rob.
Other news, Andy Burnham, we've just found out what sort of a man he is. He puts milk into his cup first before he puts a tea bag in and makes his tea. Well, as a builder, I can tell you now, that'll be like his policies. Weak as
He's very angry. The other Rob from Newcastle's in Vegas, and he's even more angry, and he's in Vegas with his wife having a nice time. It's all going on this morning, isn't it? So we've talked in detail about that last story, foreign aid farce over Rochdale grooming gang boss. Government signs off 150 million quid. Just on a serious note for a sec, as an ex-advisor, does nobody advise these people, or is it literally so warped, so politically correct, that anybody would assume that something like that would be acceptable?
I think that there would just be, even if somebody did question it and say, look, this would look terrible and why on earth are we doing this, you know, which is the common sense view, I think that there would be people who are just not able to push back against what would be the legal opinion or the legal framework, or a lawyer or a very senior civil servant that swans in, that's been there for 25, 30
I'd
years.
sack him.
And say, oh, Minister, you couldn't possibly... I mean, it is literally a scene
underline
from...
the bit you just said, Minister. No, it's happening. I don't... Because I spoke to John Redwood once about this, and he is another one, like Ian Duncan Smith, who I think missed out. I mean, I think he was brilliant. And he just said, it depends how strong you are as a minister. If I wanted something done, I said, I'm the minister and I'll take responsibility. Now get out of my office and go and do what I'm telling you to do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But if you said that nowadays, you'd probably have 6 months off through anxiety. You'll be accused of bullying.
You'd be accused of... like Priti Patel and all... Yeah, absolutely.
Who was the other one?
Dominic Raab, I should mention. And, you know, so... but these are people that just want to get things done, that want to kick the tyres in a system, in a department, whether it's the Home Office, particularly the Home Office, that never gets things... never seems to get anything right at the minute. I mean, it goes back to that John Reid quote, the Home Office is not fit for purpose. That was 20 years ago he said that, and it still rings true today.
And he says, I never let... You don't ever finish Charlie... Oh, sorry, you literally don't let Charlie finish a sentence.
What? You know, I think, you know...
I'm really sorry, I don't mean to. It's just my exuberance to be here.
I think it's fabulous. I love being here.
I love being here. We're just going to love being with each other. Lee's in Hull. Have you been to Hull?
I have been to Hull, yes, yes.
Morning, Hinge, morning, Bracket. A few things this morning. Firstly, Charlie, the haircut only amplifies your good looks.
Well, that is from Hull. That's
Lee's obviously he's obviously in some centre. Secondly, wasn't David Cameron? This is a very good point. Catapulted into the House of Lords to come back into the cabinet under Sunak.
Yep.
Thirdly, people need to watch Samara Gill's report. This is a very good point, by the way. The tent area in Marble Arch in London. What a shocking state of affairs in our nation's capital, and the abuse Samara got in a cameraman, and they give Calamity Khan a peerage. Please stop the world so I can get off. Have a great weekend, one and all. It's a very, very good point, actually. It's an amazing thing. You can see it online. Samara Gill. Can we get a clip from that? Because this is Marble Arch. This is our nation's capital. This is the town that... I mean, if you listen to Sadiq Khan, who's now a lord, he will tell you everything's perfect in London. Here's the reality with Samara Gill. Have a watch.
OK, we're going to go. It's come to light through multiple media publications that there is a much darker underbelly to all this. Albanian and Romanian gangs operate in this area, some extremely, well, some trailing us right now, doing a circle as we speak. I'm feeling quite intimidated. What? It's a public area. Okay. We're gonna go.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable footage. It's Marble Arch in the capital of London. Sadiq Khan says, I've got it. Albanian, they say gangs, Samara said. You could see, if you were just listening on the radio, attacking the cameraman for telling a story about what's actually going on in the capital of the United Kingdom. Would you imagine Trump would allow that to happen in Washington, D.C.? Of course he wouldn't. It's absolutely symptomatic, that is, all joking apart, of what's wrong with this country, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, and I saw that footage yesterday, and I was shocked, because, as you say, that is Marble Arch. That is the centre of London. That is the capital of our country, and you have a reporter there just doing a job, doing her job. Samara was there to report on a particular story, being surrounded by, being hounded by men there who are clearly up to no good. You can just tell if you see, if something doesn't look right, see it, say it's sorted. Well, you know, he obviously is up to no good, clearly going for the cameraman there, not wanting to be on camera. Well, then don't be anywhere near the camera. It had absolutely nothing to do with this individual, but he obviously took it upon himself to get involved, to make a nuisance of himself, to confront the cameraman, to confront Samara. I mean, completely unacceptable behaviour. And where's the police? Nowhere to be seen. But this is in the capital of our country, and that is what is happening, not just in the city of London.
Can we try and get Samara on for a comment on this later? I think, can we see if we can grab it? This is appalling. Shantytown, Eastern European migrants set up camp in London's Marble Arch. I'd like to look into this a bit. This is utterly... Where are the police? You're dead right. Where are the police?
But how dare they? I mean, who do they think that they are? They think that these are people now, whether it's that particular individual, whatever gang or not, that he might be part of, wherever he might be from, whether it's the UK or anywhere else, from anywhere else in the world that he's come to the UK. You cannot behave in that way. It is not...
We're allowing him to behave in that way, though.
But he feels so bold as brass that is the way forward, that he can do that he can tell UK broadcasters what they can or can't report because he doesn't like it, because it interferes with what? His human rights or his Home Office?
What about the rights of my cameraman or our cameraman there who's being physically attacked?
Absolutely.
Can we try and get Samara? And I want to talk about this. Is absolutely... She's what? She's not. She's on another job. All right, fair enough. But you check that out, that footage out, though, online, guys. Unbelievable. Shantytown, Eastern European migrants at camp in London's Marble Arch. The day that Sadiq Khan is given a lordship. It's not a peerage, though. Can you help me out? I thought a peerage was a knighthood.
No, a peerage is going to the Lords.
What's the knighthood, then? Is that not called a peerage? That's why I got confused this morning.
Well, he is definitely Sir Sadiq Khan, but will then go to the Lords as... Lord.
Can't. Morning, Jez. Morning, Charlie. I would welcome Burnham through the door at Downing Street, reminding him it's a bloody revolving door, says Tracy in Chingford. Good for you, Trace. Rob's in Hereford. Do you know what Hereford's famous for?
Well, yes, I do, actually, yes, yeah, now. But it's where hurricanes hardly ever happen, isn't it?
The SAS. The SAS is headquarters in Hereford. You're not supposed to know that, but I've just told everyone. Has Burnham had a word with Starmer to get Khan out of London and into the Lords? Best place to hide an enemy. Very interesting. There's a way about that. Great show, Charlie and Jez. You have certain great chemistry, but JK's wife may be getting slightly concerned by the flirting between the two of you.
Well...
She always says I'm the campest straight man she knows. Ellie's in Swindon. Morning, just to say I love Charlie's new haircut. Great show with you two. Not much to smile about at the moment, but you two certainly make me smile. And other people saying that they're smiling because of your haircut, so that's fantastic. Paul in No Tents. What? Never mind Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan. It's Park Lane, The Wrath of Khan, you see? It's interesting, though, isn't it, that so much is made by Sadiq Khan about how much good he's done in London. And then you see that footage, which I'm going to play all morning. Morning, Laura Jane.
Morning, you two. It's Laura Jane from Hampshire. I'm still laughing from the haircut. I think you need to come to where I live. There's a really, really good barbers in our high street. Anyway, Andy Burnham, Hit the ground running, Andy. Nigel's coming up behind you.
Is that it? Oh, so I put the fan back on there and turn it off. I didn't know that at all.
Well, I'll be getting the first train to Hampshire, obviously, after this show, just to go and see that barber to get myself sorted out, obviously. But there you are. Is it really that bad?
What did you say, Christian? What did you say? What did you say? You can't put hair back on, says Christian. You're stuck like this, hair flick.
I know a few people that have had hair stuck on.
Have you?
I do,
Do you want to name any of them?
Not right now.
Do I know any of them?
You do, yes.
Do you? Are they political?
Yes.
They are, aren't they? Yes. Oh!
And they look gorgeous, by the way, I must say.
Men or women?
Man.
Conservative, Labour or Liberal Democrat?
None of the above.
Reform?
Yes.
Current MP?
No. Oh, no. No one in the public eye.
Can see the headline tomorrow. Charlie Rowley accuses Reform MPs of having hair transplants.
I know many people that have had hair transplants.
Yes.
But
Jason Cundy, of course, legendary footballer on our sister station TalkSport.
Absolutely.
He's had his hair done. You don't need that. You just need to make it a bit more balanced in its approach.
I do.
Unfortunately, Burnham watched and took his inspiration from Thunderbirds. He might look like brains, but I think his actions will be anything but, says JB. Did you see, were you listening yesterday? Can we play this again? I know it's Starmer and he's almost gone. Well, he is gone. But we had this, what's your favourite Starmer moment? And it was, do you remember the Christmas tree? 5. We put it to Thunderbirds, ladies and gentlemen. We got asked by thousands of people, so I'm just going to play it one last time. On the day he is no longer Labour leader, but this is fantastic. And we should credit Christian and the team. It's brilliant. Have a watch.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It worked.
Thunderbirds are go.
Do you know what I mean?
Amazing. I just, we won't miss him, I'm afraid.
What was your favourite moment? There was always the sausages, release the sausages, being thrown out the pub.
Yeah,
being completely done over by Trump when he came up to the lectern and Trump just turned his back and he looked absolutely raging. And there was that as well. What was your favourite moment?
Well, Trump also sort of dropping the papers and him having to sort of scurry around and pick them up. I mean, not as comical, but just more equally as telling was when he went to Southport and was just absolutely booed by the community there when he tried to lay a wreath there because nobody, he did not get the tone of what the country was feeling right at that moment.
It's a good phrase, actually. He never read the room. He never read the country, did he?
No.
This is interesting. Morning, Jez. My question to Burnham would be, I don't know, what's Lindsay in Ipswich? He's having a hard time this morning, Andy Burnham. Is your nose attached to your glasses and where is your top lip? So I've absolutely no idea. Oh, hold on. Is this fresh? I just thought it would be nice. On the day that we hear that Sadiq Khan is going to be given... Well, he's going to be sent to the House of Lords, literally. Is he to be hidden or is he to be promoted? There's only one man I know in the world that can speak about Sadiq Khan in an honest and open way. Take it away, Donald Trump.
I'm not a fan of your mayor.
Why not?
I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London. But a nasty person. I think he's done. I think he's a friend of mine, Russian. No, I think he's done a terrible job. But I would certainly visit London. Yeah.
Don't you love him?
Another awkward moment, a classic. I mean, trying to...
He's a friend of mine.
But why would you even bother? Why would you even bother trying to stick up for him? Just that's just a complete, malfunction. Well, that's the Prime Minister all over, isn't it?
So as the first hour, and my favourite hour of the show, always with Charlie, twice a week on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We'll probably make it 5 soon. We said bon voyage to Starmy. Let's go back to the beginning. We say bonjour, hello, ciao, konnichiwa, hola, and namaste to Andy Burnham, who arrives today. What would your advice be for a man who says he's going to be distinctly Labour, which means he'll raise taxes?
I mean, good luck with that, because the public won't have it. You've inherited, the only... a bit of sympathy I obviously feel for Andy Burnham is that he's coming in on the back of already a Labour government that has raised taxes 2 years running.
Totally
is this about my hair?
Charlie's haircut. I think he looks like a turnip.
A turnip?
He looks like a turnip. And then Keith says, has Charlie sold his hair to the makers of Action Man?
I'm not on, you know, I could be one of these influencers. I wish
You
that
won't
were
be
true.
influencing anybody to go to that barber's, that's for sure. Christ alive. No, listen, it'll grow. Or things always grow.
It will.
Yours is definitely going to grow. It'll be a grower.
I've got my sunglasses outside. I shan't take them off for the rest of the week.
They're not going to work. They're just going to fall off your head, aren't they? So that's Burnham. Cabinet makeup for you. Did you agree with me? I said Miliband Foreign Secretary, Mahmood Chancellor, and possibly Wes Streeting home. Where are you on that, Charlie?
I think that makes a total sense if you don't want Miliband to become the Chancellor. But I just think with all this briefing that's going around, this briefing on group, I would not be actually surprised if Burnham actually appoints Miliband as Chancellor.
How bad would that be for us?
I think it would be a disaster. I think as a political project, if you zone into what the left actually want to do, which is tax and spend on public services, you know, forgetting about the growth issue, but anyway, that's what they do. He's the perfect man for the job. So if you want to leave government, if you're Andy Burnham, if you think, right, how can I actually deliver on public service spending, have a record to say that we've, you know, spent money on those public services, that we've brought down waiting lists, that we've had even more breakfast clubs, after-school dinner clubs for schools. If you want to spend all that money, there's only one man to raise the money. It's Ed Miliband. So I don't rule it out, but so it remains to be seen. But let's see. It's
been lovely, and we're going to leave you with a comment from Vinny, who says, "Tell Charlie that he may not have hair, but he has hope in his heart." Charlie Rowley, we love you. Thank you so much indeed. Charlie will be back on Monday. Will it be? No, when's he back? When it was. The way it's going.
Wednesdays. Who knows?
To be honest, you might be back after 7, because what you don't know about Charlie is he sort of doesn't go. He sort of hangs outside and talks to the people who work on the show and other shows, and then waits for the canteen to open at 8, because he basically gets a half-price sausage, don't you?
I do, but you'll recognise me outside, because I'll be sitting there with a paper bag on my head.
No, I'll be able to see you, because your ears will be galvanised as they've never been galvanised. Charlie, thank you so much indeed. Almost 7 o'clock. We're live across the UK. JK on Talk Breakfast, the home of common sense, will start next hour with the one and only Talks International. The Isabel Oakeshott. We'll talk Burnham, we'll talk Khan, and we'll talk that appalling decision where we're giving Pakistan 150 million quid, and they're blaming us for that grooming gang rapist paedophile. Almost 7 on Talk.
The number of young people claiming health benefits has doubled in the last 5 years. We have a real crisis here. I think much of it you can trace back to COVID and the whole furlough scheme. People got used to being at home. They don't understand what it's like to have a work ethic any longer. We really need to deal with the ticking time bomb of our youth, because within 10, 20 years, they're going to become the majority of our workforce. And if they're all skiving off like this, we're going to be an even bigger problem than we have now. Yeah.
The question my party is asking now is whether I am best placed to lead us into the next general election. I have heard the answer of my parliamentary party to that question. And I accept that answer with good grace. Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party.
Well, you know what? In the end, he did do the right thing, and there were some achievements, and he's an honourable man, and he cared about public service. Guys, that's not what happened just now. In the last half an hour, Keir Starmer resigned, and he resigned because he was pushed. Most of his issues, most of the things which have damned him from, let's face it, within days, within weeks of him becoming Prime Minister back in July 2024, or of his own making. They were things he chose to do, cutting the winter fuel allowance, damning everybody who wanted to have a public inquiry on the grooming gangs as jumping onto the far-right bandwagon, the two-tier policing after the Southport riots. This man brought it on himself. He was not a good Prime Minister.
There was two things on that manifesto. One was a picture of Keir Starmer and the word change. Well, promise made and promise delivered in that sense. If he's right, let's be honest. But look, I mean, I don't really want to make light of it, but I am cheesed off, Julia, because what we promised in opposition was competence, and it's been anything but. I'm embarrassed. I'm really, truly, honestly, I am embarrassed because I did think we would be competent. We've not been.
I've no idea whether there'll be a contest or a coronation. But what I do know is the British public have simply had enough of political parties chopping and changing their leaders at will. We vote for somebody in a general election to be our Prime Minister. We expect them to serve their term. And barring ill health or exceptional circumstances, what is going on here, frankly, is reminiscent of a banana republic that has totally devalued the very process of general elections and democracy. We at Reform demand a general election.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome along or welcome back. This is JK on Talk Breakfast, the home, of course, of common sense, the home of you, the alarm clock, Brett. Whatever you're doing today, heatwave continues. I'm sure you're out there grafting. Many people, by the way, heading off for their summer getaway. 14 million journeys, people in cars across the United Kingdom. If you are heading off, tell us where you're going, what you're expecting. Long delays at the Dover port, or if you're going on a ferry, delayed flights. No, I'm not trying to make you miserable. If you are going on holiday, welcome. Enjoy it. Listen, so much to talk about. The main news story is, yesterday we said a very sad adios to Sir Keir Starmer, in brackets, we weren't sad really. And now, today we say, and I'm just trying to be politically correct, to Andy Burnham, we say, hello, bonjour, ciao, konnichiwa, hola, namaste, because Andy Burnham, on the back of 24,927 people elected or voting for him in Makerfield in Manchester, is today going to be unveiled as the new Labour leader. Starmer is gone, Burnham is in, and on Monday in 72 hours he exceeds the most powerful job in the United Kingdom, that of Prime Minister. I thought, because it's Friday, right, for a man who says that his government's going to be distinctly Labour, which means socialist, which means bigger taxes, I wondered what your welcome was for Andy Burnham. Text us them, 87222. Start your message with the word talk, or you can send a voice note, 0344 499 1000. It's getting hard for him already. He hasn't even arrived here yet on his penny farthing, has he? The IMF was saying, we're not lending you any more money. Be very careful what you spend and promise, because your skin. That's the International Monetary Fund. The left already saying to him, you better make Ab Miliband Chancellor, because if you don't, we're going to cause a bit of grief. Hasn't even arrived in yet on his train from Manchester. That's the reality of the job in a party that will not allow you to govern, because there are so many factions and so many considerations that's the truth. The other story, well, there's two more stories I want to talk about. We'll talk football in a minute with the excellent Max Scott from TalkSport, but Sadiq Khan's going to the Lords. He's been given a life peerage by Sir Keir Starmer, is one of the last acts as Prime Minister. What? How does that make any sense? A man who says, oh, knife crime's down, London's fantastic. I'll tell you how unfantastic London is. There's an amazing piece. We played it 20 minutes ago and I play it all morning. Samara Gill, our reporter, does such great work. She had a tip-off of what can only be described as a sort of shanty town in Marble Arch, where illegal migrants or people from other communities, I should say, have set up town with absolutely no rules. No council tax, nothing. Smoking, drinking, doing whatever, abusing, nicking, allegedly. So she and a cameraman from Talk went down. Listen to... Just watch how they were treated. This is London, Sadiq Khan. This is what you should be sorting out.
OK, we're gonna go. It's come to light through multiple media publications that there is a much darker underbelly to all this. Albanian and Romanian gangs operate in this area, some extremely, well, some trailing us right now, doing a circle as we speak. I'm feeling quite intimidated. What? It's a public area. Okay. We're gonna go.
It's just appalling if you just listen to the radio. The cameraman's being attacked for reporting on a shanty town. Watch it online. Samara busy today, but it's absolutely appalling. And I just want to read a text because Daryl from Lincoln, he says, just speaking as a lorry driver who gets to see most towns and cities all over the UK, Jez, unfortunately a lot of people don't realise just how much our country's been taken over. Marble Arch, in my mind, is literally the tip of the iceberg. Whole towns have been completely overrun. Daryl in Lincoln. People will not have this conversation, though. They don't want to have this conversation because that is politically wrong, but it is a fact, and that is an amazing piece of work. Have a look at that. The other thing that's disgusting is the front page of the Daily Mail. If you are waking up this morning, I give up. Foreign aid farce over Rochdale grooming gang boss. How do I put this in basic terms? We want to send the man who was sentenced for 41 years for raping young white British girls. We want to send him back to Pakistan. They won't. Yesterday, the government quietly released figures that we're giving Pakistan £153 million in foreign aid, and they not only won't take this piece of scum back, they say it's our fault. 153 million quid. Imagine what you could do. Oh, don't start me. Anyway, here's a woman who knows everything and will calm me down. Always a pleasure. Talks international editor Isabel Oakeshott. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you. Jezza, how are you?
Andy Burnham, I'm being politically correct. Bonjour, hello, ciao, konnichiwa, hola, namaste. What would you say to Andy Burnham as he arrives today as the Labour leader and soon-to-be Prime Minister?
Arrivederci, goodbye. We don't need you. You're not going to make anything any better. I mean, the guy is employed, by all accounts, somebody from Hope Not Hate to be his chief of staff or chief policy person or something like that. I mean, I think that tells us everything we need to know about the direction that this administration is going to go in, doesn't it? You know,
he said overnight he's going to be distinctly Labour, Isabel. His government will have the courage to fix the big things that politics has neglected.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to be distinctly wrong. Now, there's a bit of me that's quite pleased about this, because if he just does things really badly right from the start, which is what it looks like if he's going to have Hope Not Hate in the middle of Downing Street, then that actually gives a better chance for a true alternative to come through. You and I have discussed this before, Jezza. The smartest thing Andy Burnham could do at this point is be completely counterintuitive and in his first week in office, stop the boats.
Yeah.
You know, he's had plenty of time to work on a plan of how he was going to do this. And in his first week in office, he could turn back the boats in the channel and everybody would sit up and go, wow, this guy's going to be really different. Maybe we have another Blair here. But he's just not going to do that, is he? Because he doesn't believe in it. And he doesn't have the guts to do it, and that is not what his agenda is going to be.
It's interesting when you say guts, because already this morning, I'm sure you've read this, I mean, the guy hasn't even arrived on his penny farthing into Labour headquarters. He's facing warnings from the International Monetary Fund over spending, and they're saying your country's finances are in a hole and we're not lending you any more money, which of course gives him no manoeuvre about. Well, he would have known that, so he's going to raise taxes. And the left are already telling him, if you don't make Ed Miliband the Chancellor, we're going to be up in arms. He hasn't even arrived. The truth of the matter is the Labour Party has so many different factions like the Tory Party that you can't govern because they spend their entire time trying to please the left, everybody. And he's just going to be, I'm afraid, just Starmer 2.0, Starmer with a bit of personality, isn't he?
I think that's exactly right. I think he's going to be almost a worse version of Starmer policy-wise, at least in tone and appearance. He won't be quite so embarrassing. You know, the guy does have a bit of life about him. He's not quite so flat. He'd never do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He wouldn't do that because he's just got a bit more of an ability to connect with people, I suppose. He's got a little bit more dynamic about him.
Did you see what he posted overnight, Isabel?
What's that?
Right, I mean, I'm not having a go at you, I never would. He's that dynamic. He posted this to try and tell the people that he's normal. This is how he likes to make a cup of tea. Have a watch.
Yeah, all that. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that it softens the tea bag a bit and makes it stronger. Might be wrong. I know that will offend a lot of people, but there'll be no legislation to ban that.
Milk first with the tea bag before
I quite like that. I think that's a conversation that we can get involved in. You know, every proper British person has a view on how to make the tea. So I'm not going to criticise him for that.
How do you make a cup of tea with the tea bag? Do you put the tea bag and the water and the sugar and then the milk?
Well, here's the thing, Jezza. I don't just have a little cup of tea. I have like half a pint of tea and it has 2 tea bags in it. There you go, 2 tea bags.
Do you know why? If it wasn't for that cad, Tice, we would have been such a fantastic couple, because that is exactly what I do. I've got like the biggest cup, it's like a mug.
It's literally like mine.
And I literally have 2 tea bags, a spoonful of sugar, and that is such... I cannot bear... You know, you get the cups about like that. You've gone through the whole arduous process of making a cup of tea. You get 2 sips and it's gone. It's...
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I'm so British, Jezza, and obviously so old, that I actually take my cup on holiday with me. And thank you for reminding me, because we're off on holiday today, and I will be taking my massive cup with me.
Do you take your own pillow with you, which I've started doing? Then I know I'm really old.
Not a whole pillow, but just like a little one, like that goes on top, just in case the pillows are too squishy.
Honestly.
I don't like those.
Tice, you've got a diamond, me old son. I hope you realise. We've fallen for the Andy Burnham trick. Let's get your thoughts also on the cabinet makeup, because lots of talk that the left are saying Miliband's got to be Chancellor. He apparently rumoured to be favouring Mahmood. What are your thoughts on the 3 big jobs, Isabel?
Well, Shabana Mahmood has never said anything about the economy. She's got no relevant experience at all. She's not going to be able to stand up there as Rachel Reeves has done and said, I'm an economist. She can't do that. She's a lawyer by background, human rights lawyer, obviously. So it does seem to me a bit strange to have her as a choice, especially as we've just come out of one... assuming Rachel Reeves is fired, which I'm sure she will be, she hasn't really set things alight, has she? We're kind of bumping along. I think figures came out yesterday, growth 0.1%, something like that. So sort of more of the same approach isn't going to work. And I do wonder if somebody who's got absolutely no interest in the economy and no expertise is really going to be able to help lift us out of the hole that we're in. But Red Ed would probably be even worse.
I think he'll become, you can agree or disagree, I think he'll become Foreign Secretary to get him out of the way. I think she will become Chancellor, and I think your man, Wes Streeting, will be Home Secretary. What's your response, before you head out, what is your response to the news this morning that Sir Sadiq Khan is going to be a lord, £365 tax-free a day for 150 days a year, a gift from Keir Starmer?
See, I'm just not that wound up about this. I have to tell you that the Tice man is listening in right now. And when I started saying earlier on to him that I just wasn't that bothered about Sadiq Khan being a lord, because he's already had all these ridiculous baubles, hasn't he? I mean, being knighted is, to me, being knighted is much more of a big deal being made a member of the House of Lords. Any old person can be made a member of the House of Lords at this point, it seems. Richard's much more wound up about it than I am, sort of saying, well, he doesn't need to be a member of the House of Lords. But honestly,
do you smell a rat, though? Look at Cameron, into Foreign Secretary, made a lord. Do you smell a rat? People are saying this morning, could Khan end up in a Burnham cabinet, for God's sake?
Well, that is much. Yeah, that's probably the most interesting dimension of this, if that is the plan. But when does his time run out as mayor? I mean, he's still got another year to go, hasn't he? He's got 2 years to go. So he can't be both mayor of London and whatever it is that Andy Burnham.
We've got to get used to that. We never thought we'd miss him, did we? Now, listen, it'll be interesting to see, but I honestly, you've seen the report from Samara, that shanty town in Marble Arch.
I'm really happy to talk about that, Jezza, because I've done some work on this in London as well. I mean, who the hell do these people think they are? Honestly, who the hell do they think they are? I'd love to know what their immigration status is. Yep. I'm sure they're illegal. And frankly, we should have been able to summon the police to crack down on those people. I mean, actually, Talk was responsible for exposing similar behaviour near Paddington. And actually, we managed to get the whole camp cleared out because of our work up there. So I think we should double down on this. I know it's not very nice work to do, and it was clearly quite frightening for Samara. But I am very happy to go to these places and keep calling it out. And what you see from the reaction of these individuals is not the reaction of people who have nothing to hide, is it? A. And B, throwing things, being intimidating. I don't see them throwing things there, but they were up in Paddington. They began throwing stones at my colleague Nicholas when he was doing some filming up there. I mean, these people are so entitled. Can you imagine going to someone else's country and just setting up in a shanty in the middle of their capital city and then starting to shout and intimidate?
But this is my point. When I brought up Sadiq Khan being given a lordship, I'll tell you why I'm wound up and why the Tice man's wound up, because I am sick to death of the BS that comes out of his mouth about how London is the safest. No, it's not. It's full of crime. It's rife with knife crime. And you've got illegal migrants. Are we allowed to say that? People with undetermined national immigration status abusing people who are doing a perfectly acceptable job. They're probably on benefits. They're probably being in a better position financially than most people who listen to this show. And the worst thing of all is that none of these politicians, and I genuinely mean this, your old man would be one of the very few that actually has the courage or the cojones to say, do you know what, this is unacceptable. And when the mainstream media or the left close ranks and go, oh, poor Albanian man, why don't you go down, all of you lot, or did we go down to Marble Arch and be abused? These people are taking the mickey out of this country, and nobody, it seems, in power has the courage or the conviction to take it for what it is and say. I mean, the other thing, you've seen the front page of the Mail, haven't you? I mean, this frankly, this morning at 4:20, nearly made me want to go home. You know that vile human being that was jailed for a combined 41 years, Shabir Ahmed, for raping over 50 young white English girls, many, I have to tell you, from deprived backgrounds with issues. 41 years was the combined sentence, Isabel, and he only served 14. He's now out on tag in a hostel. We want to send him back to Pakistan. Anybody with a brain cell. Number 10 had said, we're working on it. There are legal loopholes. Turns out that last night they signed off £153 million in foreign aid for Pakistan without telling anybody. And Pakistan is saying, it's not our problem, it's your problem. You're responsible for the person that he is. So why are we giving 153 million to a country that won't take one of their own back? Why are we allowing horrible men to run around our capital city? That's what Andy Burnham needs to do, but he won't. Not at all.
I mean, it's actually not complicated this at all, is it? You just say, if you will not take back your nationals who commit to the most appalling crimes in our country, then not only are you not getting any foreign aid, frankly, we shouldn't be giving Pakistan a penny in foreign aid in the first place, a very, very wealthy country where a lot of money's sloshing around there. So we shouldn't be giving them foreign aid, and that should be removed forthwith, and let's see how they like that. And secondly, it's time to get tough on visas. You know, we dish out an awful lot of visas to an awful lot of people that are not actually contributing to the UK. All of that has got to be looked at. You know, these are devices that Donald Trump has no problem using, and it's actually quite an effective way of getting overseas administrations to do what you want them to do, and frankly, do what is the right thing for them to do. I don't blame them for not wanting this character back again, but I don't really think that Britain should continue to agree to be the kind of dustbin of people that no other countries want, which seems to be where we're at right now.
And I don't understand, you know, but I don't want to make this political this morning, but I don't understand a huge number of politicians, and this doesn't include reform, actually, will not face the absolute truth that so millions of people in this country are fed up with how standards have dropped, how the family unit has dropped, how we wipe the backside of everybody, Isabel, to the detriment of our own. And day after day I sit here with stories like this Rochdale grooming gang, like the Marble Arch thing, the amazing work you did with your man on the immigration problems in this country. And we see about this new man walking into Downing Street and, you know, I'm gonna create this in the north and all that. I'm failing to understand how people don't cry out even more for a conviction politician who's got the balls to do something about stuff that I think is destroying our country in almost every way possible.
Do you know what? It's so... I came back to the UK because I'm normally living overseas. I'm here for the summer, and I cannot tell you how happy it's made me to be in this country, to be home, and just to be reminded of how beautiful and amazing and gorgeous it is, and how much we potentially have going for us. And yet at the same time, we appear to be turning into some kind of human garbage bin. I mean, look at that behaviour in the centre of London, and it's everywhere, as one of our callers said earlier. You know, town centres across Britain are being intimidated by these people who are not net contributors. On the contrary, you know, they seek to hide their faces, they seek to hide what they're doing. They're not here legally, and we seem to accept them. Britain should not be a human garbage bin.
And as politicians say reform, decide to stand up and talk about that, other parties as well, they get ostracised by so many on the left who think that the rights of that piece of rubbish on screen abusing Samar and the cameraman somehow supersede hard-working alarm clock Brits. Makes no difference. Makes no sense to me. Sweetheart, thank you. I know you're on your way onto a flight, so appreciate your commitment. Thank you, and have a wonderful break. We'll be speaking to Isabel. She works that hard, ladies and gentlemen. She's on holiday. She's always working. Thank you, Isabel. Talks International Editor, 7:22. What is it? Friday morning. I know you're shocked. It's Jeremy Kyle. 5 days on the bounce. I'm looking for a long service medal, actually. 5 days, quite knackered. Morning, Sean.
Morning, Jeremy. Sean from Grimsby. Listening to all the Southerners complain about Sadiq Khan, yet you were the ones who voted him in. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Like you didn't know what he was going to do after the first time. You voted him in twice more. My advice would be, don't vote him in. Now, there's a reason why us in the North hate coming to London, because it's a dive. It is a complete foreign dump, mate. Great show, Jeremy.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back to 7:26. We're live across the UK. So yesterday we said au revoir to Keir Starmer, and today we say bonjour, hello, ciao, namaste, konnichiwa, hola, or how you doing to Andy Burnham as he arrives on his penny farthing from Manchester to take over the Labour Party and the country. We're asking you for your welcoming messages. Jez, Andy Burnham is the UK's male version of Meghan Markle. Thinks he's loved by everyone, loves his social media posts, living in his own self-worth. I'm just waiting for the jam or cooking show with Andy Burnham next. Jan says, morning, Jez. Jan, the man from Blackburn, Mad Ed, should be suitably rewarded for his stalwart work on Nut Zero. Perhaps a minister for paper clips would be suitable. Yes, I think he'd be good at that. JK, welcome, Andy. Keep your return ticket to Manchester. You might need it quite quickly, says Mags. Also, this is interesting. So Andy Burnham, to prove that he's a man of the people, posted last night on social media how to make a perfect cup of tea. Here's a northerner who's been brilliant, by the way, for this stage of the World Cup. Talk Sports, brilliant. Max Scott, how'd you make a cup of tea? You're from North, aren't you?
Yes.
Where?
Well, I went to school in Doncaster, but I'm from North Notts, so it's north compared to here, but the Midlands.
You
really.
don't live in Newark, do you?
I live about 15 minutes from Newark. My best mate lives in Newark.
And you see, Christian's looking at me because I've longed all my life to meet somebody from Newark.
Why?
You know why?
Why?
It's an anagram. I'll say no more. So, thank you. So, cup of tea. Tea bag and sugar, hot water. Andy Burnham, milk before the water. What's right, what's wrong?
Well, neither of those things.
Oh!
Yeah, it's tea bag, hot water, tea bag out, milk in, sugar in, stir.
See, now, I'm a bit like that, see? I'm with you. I don't think you can... Why are you
shouldn't
frowning?
mix the sugar in the tea bag.
Oh, Christian, does it matter? I have tea leaves in my teapot. Christian's basically saying we're being ridiculous. Does it actually matter? Yes, it matters very much, doesn't it?
I don't really think it matters. Do
you know what a scone is from Nottingham? Do you know what a scone is, yeah?
Yeah, scone.
I'm only joking. Scone. World's quickest cake, scone. Jam first, or this is a real thing. Jam first or cream?
Cream first, then jam.
It's my boy. Nobody should put the jam first. The wonderful Charlotte just walked in with another cup of tea. Did you put the tea bag in or the milk for... Tea bag first, fantastic.
Happy days.
Max, I wanted to get you on today because the front of the Sun, I'm afraid, and I love the Sun, wound the crap out of me this morning. Only 693 days to the Euros. Overnight, we've got Thomas Tuchel saying that the DNA of his players is the reason that we failed. I saw Jamie O'Hara from TalkSport, brilliant on Sky, saying he was picking points for scores for that, and he gave Tuchel 0, and he went, he cannot understand how a man paid that much money has the audacity to blame the players when his negative tactics, putting 6 defenders on, as Argentina decided to attack, was vehemently obvious to everybody. There's quite a bit of kickback, but the FA, as we stand, are saying, we'll stand by him. Is that the right or wrong decision?
Well, the FA are retaining their backing for now. They're going to do a full sort of review of his performance in this World Cup, and then things might change. And as you know, a lot can change in a very short amount of time, whether that's in politics, whether that's in football.
Yeah.
We're already hearing reports that lots of the players have been absolutely baffled and bemused by Thomas Tuchel's tactical approach to throw 3 defenders on to protect a 1-goal lead.
Yeah.
And allow them, we spoke about it, allow Argentina the freedom of the city of Atlanta during that final sort of half an hour of the game. These comments, latest comments from Thomas Tuchel about... well, let me read them verbatim. He says, I think ball possession plays a crucial role. It's maybe not in our DNA like it is in the Spanish DNA or the Argentinian-Brazilian DNA to take the ball and control the game with the ball. That reeks to me of a man abdicating himself of any responsibility for what happened on the pitch.
Now, you're a professional, okay? I'm just a fan, right? To me, it's not about retaining the ball. It's taking the ball and being positive with the ball and going forward. I was reading a really interesting article this morning, don't know where it was. they were saying that so many of the players look shot to pieces. Kane looked shot to pieces, right? Which is, he had got no service at all. The only one that ran, actually, Jed Spence was the best player on the pitch for England, which was extraordinary and has completely enhanced, despite all that criticism, and Anthony Gordon, who he took off. Why wouldn't you give Watkins and Tony and to run down? I'm sorry, I really do think Tuchel's completely missing the point. And if you look at some of those players in what they're saying, this isn't going to end nice because he is putting this on England. And we can moan about the players. This is down to his tactical nous.
But also, what a nebulous thing to blame it on. Oh, it's the DNA. You know,
and he said
it's the football equivalent of saying, well, you've hurt my feelings. You know, well, that doesn't matter, mate. You know, what matters is the fact that you've made a significant error of judgment. And for want of a better term, to use the language of fans, you've bottled it.
Fess up.
Right in the moment you were employed for. And so, I'm sorry, that just doesn't wash with me.
No, I agree.
That you've now realised when you failed, oh, it wasn't actually me, it was the DNA, the footballing DNA of the players, which, let's be honest, doesn't exist. I mean, it's a metaphor.
I'll tell you what does exist, right? And I said it to you yesterday, and I will keep saying it. Sammy and I were talking about it this morning. I remember rugby in the late 90s, before we won the World Cup. The whole England game was, we're too scared to lose, so we're never going to be expansive to win. And every game was all about the scrum, and it was 6-3 or 3-0 or 5-3. And Clive Woodward came along and went, why don't we play with the ball? And we started to spread it and run, and we won the World Cup. If the basic point is that England are more scared of losing than winning, then why not be the person who goes, do you know what, I'd rather lose 4-3 and show the bloody fans and the millions of people at home that have spent hours and hours staying up that actually we're going to give it a go. I was really critical of Scotland going out without a whimper, and I am really critical of Thomas Tuchel because you cannot slag Southgate off like he did and talk about the players. This is down to him. It's down to his tactical inability and the decisions he took. 1,000,000%, Max.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And it's interesting, actually. I was combing through. I wanted to know yesterday what were German media, Spanish media, Italian media saying about this performance. Were they talking about where was Harry Kane? Were they questioning Jude Bellingham or Declan Rice? They weren't. It was all about Thomas Tuchel's tactics, and it was all about this mentality of collapsing. And I said this yesterday. The reason England capitulated was because this negative attitude manifested itself from negative decision-making from the manager, which he explicitly said, Jeremy, that he wouldn't do or that he'd come to address.
That's why he was given the job.
There's no wonder that people in this country, English fans, feel they've been lied to. Because they've been sold a dream. They've been told all of the issues that you have watched in your national side, that we all know, I'm diagnosing them, and I'm telling you it's not going to happen. And it is exactly what happened in what was the greatest humiliation in English football history in over a generation.
Is that how you see it?
That's how I see it. I'm 33 years old. I've never been more embarrassed by a performance. And this isn't me targeting the players. I've never been so embarrassed by a set of circumstances which allowed those players to be parked right back in their box. And it comes from the manager. It all stems from the manager. The fish rots from their head down. And in this instance,
is there any blame in your mind for the players, or is it all on the manager?
It's all on the manager.
It's interesting. I mean, players will say, we have to... I mean, you only had to see Gay afterwards, Gay, and I think Harry Kane as well, saying it wasn't the right tactic. If you're told, and you could see him screaming, the fact of the matter is, if you're told to stay behind the halfway line, what are you supposed to do? Go against the manager's wishes? I'm with you, Christian Shakers. I'm completely with you.
Let me say,
if you're the leader, you have to take the rap, good or bad.
Let me say in response to people that might not think that. Well, if the players are playing too defensively and it's their fault, Thomas Tuchel, your job is to do something about that and change it. You even had a hydration break to get your message across.
But you see, now Christian said something that I wish you had a microphone. You're so wrong, Christian, and I'm very honest. He said if it had worked, he would have been a hero. It was never going to work. It was never going to work to say to the greatest footballer on God's earth and 11 players, 7 of whom were now forwards because Argentina had worked out that they needed to score 2 goals. It was never going to work. You're saying to Messi, play with me for 25 minutes. Never going to work. Never once did we get the ball maybe one kick from Pickford. That's the point, right?
You know, if
That's me
if
being
Man
honest.
had wheels, she'd be a bike. You know, that doesn't matter. If buts and maybes, the reality is it didn't happen, and we could all, the vast majority of people watching, could see from about 60 minutes on, we ain't.
I knew we were going to lose the minute he did that. I'd have taken Harry Kane off. I love Harry Kane. He looked shot to pieces. He looked absolutely knackered. I don't understand the Kobe Mainoo thing. I didn't understand Terence Trent Derby. But how you cannot give Watkins or Tony or any of those a run at Kobe
one
Mainoo.
of the most gifted players in possession
Apparently
in this
didn't
country.
like the way he trained for 1 hour or something. No, I'm sorry. This is on Tuchel, and it's not that typically English thing, right? The typical English thing is to say, oh, you know, the weather or Argentina or I don't care. I don't care about the flag. I don't care about the Falklands. I care about the fact that you nailed it absolutely as you do every day, which is you were brought in. You slagged off Southgate. You said the very DNA that you said is now a problem. You were going to change that. You were the manager. You were the technician. There is no doubt you started this. On this station, there's only one manager for England, that's Pep Guardiola. I am utterly convinced what you said yesterday is right. Spend all the money you can at FA. He'll only have to do 3 or 4 months a year. He'll love it.
Yeah.
He would be an... Are you telling me Pep Guardiola would have done that? Are you joking?
Yeah, absolutely.
Pep Guardiola would have put 6 over the front line, and I just can't. It annoys me too much. I took the bunting down at 2 a.m. this morning.
I'm still. I started off with, it's like the stages of grief.
Yeah, it
I
is,
started off with I was speechless, I was sad, and I'm now in an extended period of fury.
It's like discovering your partner's gone off with somebody else, isn't it? Can I just say, because I get told all sorts of things and I'm an old man, I think you have been utterly fantastic and a credit to
thanks,
TalkSport,
Jeremy.
mate. Really appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
Max Scott on Talk, as angry as I am. What did you make of the football? 23 minutes to 8. Let's get a Labour perspective next on Andy Burnham. Carl Turner's going to accept the whip, rejoin the Labour Party and be very happy. You'll go to a break. I'm going to have a blow. See you later.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
I'd like to explain, because Christian's made a very salient point, that if you are just tuning into the Jeremy Kyle show, here on Talk, the home of common sense and, well, let's be honest, alarm clock Brits, and you said, and you might have heard me say, I'm going to a break. Well, you go to a break, I'm going to have a blow. This is my fan. That's what I meant. Quite simply because I never complain about anything. But essentially, this studio is a bit like a Turkish bath this morning. Apparently, it's all working. So every time there's a bit of an ad break, because apparently I'm not allowed to... There's my fan. If you watch, somebody's going, what's wrong with me radio? It's my fan, don't worry about it. 20 to 8. Thanks for tuning in today, by the way. Andy Burnham on his way to lead the Labour Party. What's your welcome message for him? Keir Starmer makes Sadiq Khan a lord as a farewell. Jeepers creepers. Who will be in the cabinet? What do you make of the shanty town in Marble Arch? Some extraordinary footage from Samara Gill. Our town, our city, our capital is controlled by the one and only Sadiq Khan and allows, if you can see on screen, migrant men to attack just people doing their job. It's extraordinary. We don't hear much about that. The awful story in the front of the Mail today. You know that paedophile, the one from Rochdale, who was jailed for 41 years. He's been released. He's out. We want to send him back to Pakistan. Apparently we can't. What the government don't tell you is that last night they gave Pakistan 150 million quid in foreign aid. I'd be saying you're not getting your foreign aid, you're not getting any trade deals. In fact, I'm going to create sanctions unless you take this piece of crap back. But apparently they won't. Sarah, good morning.
Mr. Burnham, welcome to you, your ego and your eyebrows, to London, our capital city. The city where Parliament sits, the city where the Prime Minister resides, in number 10, Downing Street. So, for you, a short stay, so I wouldn't bother unpacking, and don't even think about decorating, because I suspect you won't be here long. Anyway, sorry, that's probably a bit mean, but that's the way I feel. As for Lord Carnage, yeesh, how the hell has that happened? I mean, that toxic little individual should not be Mayor of London, let alone a Lord. Anyway, so, yeah, just got to try and get through the next few months, haven't we? Some way or another. Great show. Bye.
Very nice to hear from you. 0344 499 1000. What can I throw at you this morning? Well, we had Charlie Rowley on in the first hour. It has a haircut, quite excessive. Graham from Bushy says, did Charlie take a picture of Herman Munster into his barber and ask him to look like him, which is quite funny. Morning, JK. The Albanian shanty town in London. What a disgrace. Pull it down, says Stephen Lincoln. Couldn't agree more. Morning, Jez. Robin, East Yorkshire. Why isn't anyone criticising the players for our defeat? For Argentina's first goal, Messi was allowed time and space to pass into a big empty space while the England player stood in the penalty area. Yes, I agree with that, but I do think tactically, I'm afraid, it's like being Prime Minister. If the house goes wrong, it comes down to you. Julie's in Tooting. Love Tooting. Do you know Tooting's most famous inhabitant? Sammy, you're a sports guru. Jimmy White. Sadiq Khan, yes, of course. Oh, Christ. Can I request, Carl, that you stop calling the new leader of the Labour Party the King of the North? He's done absolutely right to deserve that title. Also, he's not Mancunian, he's a Scouser. If Khan comes back, I'm coming to Argentina with you. Nothing wrong with the hairdo. That'll be Charlie's. Apparently, Charlie looks lovely, says Hev. Despite the fact that if you can go online, Charlie Rowley's had a haircut. Extraordinary. Mary says it looks like he's had his hair cut through a colander, which is quite an interesting one. Paul's in Belfast. I wonder how Larry the Cat will get along with Andy Vermin. What a great moment to bring in an Andy Burnham supporter. We love balance on this show. We love this man. We say a very good morning to the independent MP for Hull East right now, but I think not for long. I've got my fan on just to wind him up. Carl Turner, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jeremy. I'm very well indeed. It's a happy day for the Labour Party, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm sure it is for you. Is it? Is it? Is it? Let's talk. Let's talk in specifics because, to be fair, you've been very honest with me and I'll be very honest with you. Where did you get that shirt from? That's something else, isn't it? What's going on this morning, Turner?
It was one my missus bought me, Jeremy. I've no idea.
Yeah, I've got 11 down. What's 14 across? I'm a bit lost on that one, my own sir. Andy Burnham. We've talked a lot about how this has come to pass, and obviously, you know, we say bon voyage to Starmer, but on a serious note, it seems that before this poor man even arrives, there's trouble afoot. The IMF warning, no more spending, the country is skint. The left saying, we want Ed Miliband as Chancellor, the city and business saying absolutely not. So this isn't personal. This man's in tray. I'm asking you as a supporter, how is he going to be able to pay for the things that he wants to do and make the decisions and be the leader that this country needs, Carl?
Well, it's an excellent question, Jeremy, because the truth is any party would be having real difficulties at managing this country and the economy. The Tories struggled and failed. The Labour Party under Keir Starmer struggled along. I think things improved slightly, but not by much, if we're honest. And I think Burnham inherits a very difficult scenario as well. The idea of Ed Miliband as the Chancellor of the Exchequer, I think, is not a pleasant one. Why? Because my constituents think he's bonkers with net zero, and that's the most unpopular thing, apart from the small boats coming in, that we could be offering the electorate of East Hull. But there are people on the left of the party, in the Parliamentary Labour Party, who think Ed is the best choice. I suspect that's not going to happen with Andy Burnham. He'll want to ensure that the markets don't wobble, and I think he'll stick cautiously to a Chancellor of the Exchequer who's going to deliver for the country over a slow period rather than instant happiness, which is what many people want.
In terms of that, we were talking about the makeup of the cabinet. I sort of had this idea yesterday and people were laughing at me. If I was Andy Burnham, I'd send Ed Miliband off as Foreign Secretary. I'd give it as promotion and one of the biggest jobs, and you're nowhere near here as often as I would not want you to be. And I would stick with Mahmood, but I think Yvette Cooper will be the fall person in all of this. I think Wes Streeting will be the Home Secretary. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I heard what you were saying yesterday, Jezza, because I do tune in. And I agreed with you, actually. I thought a good appointment would be Ed Miliband as Foreign Secretary. I think I think that would be something that would interest him. And indeed, it would get him out the way.
Yeah.
And that might be something that's helpful. Why do I say that? Not because I've got a personal vendetta against Ed Miliband. I've not really. We're not pals by any stretch, but we get on fine. But I think the problem we have is that he's influential. Why? Yeah. Because he's a popular person amongst the actual members of the Labour Party. If I go into my CLP, there'll be people there who say Ed Miliband's the bee's knees.
Yeah.
And the electorate, I'm sorry to tell Ed Miliband, don't think he's the bee's knees. And frankly, he struggles to eat a bacon sandwich in public, which I always find to be...
I think as Foreign Secretary, if I was Burnham, I could sell it to him. I could sell it to him as promotion, the face of Great Britain. And I have to say, because he's obviously massively, massively ambitious, whatever he says, you're almost seen as out of the way. But I want to give you another scenario. Yesterday, in one of his final acts, Keir Starmer made Sadiq Khan a lord, which has gone down like a cup of whatever in this building right now. The London Mayor will take up his seat in the House of Lords. No truth in the room, he's going to be called your Lord Ulez. But on a serious note, somebody pointed out to me earlier, Cameron was ennobled and ended up as Foreign Secretary. Do you believe there's any plans to put Sadiq Khan into the cabinet?
I don't know, is the honest truth. I doubt it, to be honest, because he's running London for the next 2 years. I understand he's not going to be standing as a candidate for the London mayoralty. There are other...
Oh, is he not standing in 2 more years? Is he
that's what I'm told on good authority. He's not going to be standing as the candidate.
Oh.
I don't know whether that's confirmed by his office, but it's certainly well spoken about within the Parliamentary Labour Party, and there are people in the PLP who are looking to be candidates for that at the next mayoral election. So I don't think he'll run. Do I think he'll be in his cabinet? If he is, he's not going to be in his cabinet anytime soon. Within 2 years, probably not, because I think, truthfully, Burnham will probably call an election before the 3 years is up.
Interesting.
So I suspect within the next 18 months to 2 years, Burnham will go to the country. He's only got to wait until we're slightly ahead in the opinion polls. It's going to be a struggle to get there, by the way. But I think if we are slightly ahead, he'll call an election.
Would you do a deal? Would you the party you're going to rejoin? What would you do as a Labour MP? Would you agree with a combination of you and the Green Party, those lunatics, to keep the right out?
I won't go anywhere near the Greens, Jeremy, to be honest with you. I won't go anywhere near them. I won't touch them with a barge pole. You know, this sort of... I mean, honestly, the frothy coffee-drinking, Guardian-reading liberal lefties who, you know, talk absolute nonsense, free smoking of cannabis wherever you feel like it, whenever you want to do, legalise this and that drug and all the rest of it. Not a chance. I don't want anything to do with Zach Polensky, the boob-whispering character.
Dave,
frankly...
Dave.
You know, come on. It's ridiculous.
Can I say one thing about you? And there's a lot of people that absolutely agree with me. What I admire about you is that you lost the Labour whip through principles. You are what is very sadly lacking. We had a huge debate this week about the security of MPs and, you know, parties that are called divisive, like Reform and others, even the Greens, because they dare to argue the status quo. What I've always admired about you is you're about opinion, you're about your constituents, and you're always honest. And maybe you'll never get one of the high offices of the land. Maybe, and I'm being serious when I say this, but your people in your constituency know that you speak for them, and I totally respect you, Carl, and I thank you as a... No, I don't like the shirt, I'm joking. Tell the wife it's lovely. But we appreciate you coming on, my friend, and we'll speak to you very soon.
For your time,
Good man, Cal Turner, MP for Hull East, telling it as is, doesn't think that Miliband will make a great Chancellor, doesn't think the Labour Party should ever do a deal with the Mad Greens. Let's go to Reform UK's London Assembly member and ask for his immediate reaction, Alex Wilson, to what I was just told by Carl Turner, that candidate Khan, having been ennobled overnight, might well not stand to be the next mayor. Hurrah!
Oh, good morning. Be careful what you wish for, though, because there are other names in the Labour Party that are being suggested as potential candidates who could actually be even worse. The likes of Dawn Butler.
Don't tell me David Lamb is eyeing it up, please.
No, I've heard Dawn Butler, but who knows? Look, Khan hasn't confirmed one way or the other whether he's standing again or not. Interesting to hear Carl say just then that the word in the Labour Party seems to be that he's not, and that would make sense, I guess, given he's now been ennobled. But I mean, that in itself is an absolute kick in the teeth for Londoners who go out to work, hardworking, struggling. Over the last 10 years that Khan has been mayor, we've found London becoming the most congested city in Europe. We've got it increasingly impossible to get on the housing ladder, whether that's for purchase or for rent. Only 6,000 housing starts in the last year, absolutely disgraceful. And of course, on policing and crime, we have knife crime epidemic up 2/3 since he was elected.
He says it's gone down 17%.
He cherry picks the figures, but if you look at from the start of his term to where we are now, overall knife offences up about 2/3, and this is at a time when he's closing police stations, he's reducing the use of stop and search, and over that time period, the amount of council tax that he is charging, his share of the council tax, up by over 3/4. Are we getting value for money? Of course we're not. And the other thing that's an absolute stain on his reputation as Mayor of London, he's allowed this culture of anti-Semitism to fester on our streets. We see it with the regular hate marches. We've seen it with the arson attacks in North London. It's an absolute disgrace. It's wholly on him and his record and his oversight of the Met Police. It's an absolute disgrace. So to reward him for that failure with a peerage, I mean, quite frankly, the sooner Starmer's out of the way, the better, because he just cannot make any decision that isn't a terrible one. And this is yet another example.
Let me give you an example of why I think he's appalling. I'm sure you'll have seen this. This is an amazing piece of work by Samara Gill, our roving reporter. She had heard whispers of what she described as a shanty town in Marble Arch. Have you seen this footage, Alex?
I've seen footage of these kind of things, absolutely.
Well, look at what they did. Look at what these men did, unsolicited men, they did to a cameraman and a woman. This is talk footage. Have a watch.
Okay, we're gonna go. It's come to light through multiple media publications that there is a much darker underbelly to all this. Albanian and Romanian gangs operate in this area, some trailing us right now, doing a circle as we speak. I'm feeling quite intimidated. What? It's a public area. Okay. We're gonna go.
Alex, I mean, if we are going to ennoble a man, right, who allows that to happen just off Park Lane, supposedly one of the most prosperous roads and richest places in London, and he does nothing about it, but he swans about pretending that everything's good. That's symptomatic of this country under Labour. I don't care what anybody tells me.
100%. Look, London is supposed to be a leading global city. We attract people to come and spend their money and invest and set up businesses and live their lives here. And what kind of incentive does it show for people to come here when this is what we're allowing to happen in one of the most exclusive and high value areas of our capital city? It's an absolute disgrace. But the government scrapping the Vagrancy Act means that there's no longer any power at all for the police to do anything about it.
Sorry, they've scrapped the Vagrancy Act. Why?
They're making it. Well, the government. This is what the government is doing. They think that rough sleeping should no longer be seen as any kind of criminal.
Yes, there's a difference. I've done programmes. There's a difference between the needy and the people who have no life, who have ended up on the streets, and some man, I'm being really careful here, who we don't know anything about, who's probably here illegally, who's probably on bloody benefits, who thinks it's all right to attack either a report. That's outrageous. That sums up why I get so wound up every day.
Absolutely, and you see these camps, and and the amount of shoplifting that happens in nearby areas as a result of it. It's shocking, absolutely shocking, and yet nobody in the kind of mainstream establishment wants to recognise it as a problem, let alone do anything about it. And yeah, you're right. It just is symptomatic of London under Khan, Britain under Labour. We're kind of slowly sinking, or not even slowly, we're rapidly sinking and declining as a country. And what does it say to the rest of the world if this is what people see?
Couldn't agree more. We were talking this morning about welcomes for Andy Burnham. He says he's going to be distinctly Labour, which we all know means he's just going to raise taxes. What would your welcome message be for Andy Burnham?
Well, he's got no mandate. He needs to call an election. If he wants to seek a mandate to do something different, which he's saying he wants to run politics differently, well, he's not elected on the general election manifesto that the other 400-plus Labour MPs were elected on just 2 years ago. So if he wants to change things, I think he needs to go to the country. He's too scared to do that because he knows he wouldn't win. But we don't know what his plans are. He's hiding from media scrutiny. He wouldn't take press comments or questions at his recent...
and he wears a cardigan.
Conference. And he's avoiding Parliament until after recess. And about the most insightful thing we've heard from any kind of interview is that apparently he likes to put milk on tea bags before he puts the water in.
Precisely.
I mean,
how do you make your tea, Wilson?
Absolutely crazy.
How do you make your tea, Alex?
I put the water in. I give it a good old bash with the spoon. Then I top it up with the milk. Do
you put the milk in before you take the tea bag out? Do you put the milk in?
No. The tea bag comes out.
Yeah.
So tea bag goes in, water goes on the top, bash it around, tea bag out, milk in, perfect colour, lovely cup of tea.
Nobody says that this programme is cerebrally brilliant. Alex Wilson, thank you so much indeed, Reforms Assembly member. On the day that, well, I don't know what to say about it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He does wear a cardigan, and yes, I've got 4. News at 8 next on Talk Breakfast.
We've got some breaking news that has just come in. TalkSport have announced a brand new partnership in a developing story. We hear they've created So Good Lager right in time for football's big summer. Just in, we're hearing that So Good Lager will be pouring pints across all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports pubs across the UK. With the big kickoff just around the corner, you can find out where to get your hands on a fresh pint of So Good Lager at talksport.com/lager.
People of Clacton should be the judges of my actions. This will be a people versus the establishment by-election. It's a chance to stick 2 fingers up to the entire establishment, to frankly tell them where to go. And that is why I will be putting my name forward to stand in this by-election. I will fight to win. I will fight to continue the political revolution that Reform has started. And I would say this to you, the voters of Clacton: if I win, you win. Because if I lose, they win, and we will never
across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Just gone 8 o'clock. We're live across the United Kingdom. This is Talk Breakfast. I never moan. Actually, genuinely, I don't. But the air conditioning's worked. It's now approaching 90 degrees in the studio. So if I have to blow myself occasionally with my fan, ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me. But I'm sweating like you wouldn't believe. Not that you want to hear that. Wherever you're listening, welcome along. Thanks for making it. Talk's the home of common sense. It's where your views on the day's news are all important. 0344 499 1000. You can ring and get on. You can send us a voice note. I've now got the door open through to the control room, so any noise, you lot, it's going to be broadcast. You can text 87222. What are we looking forward to today? Well, it was sad yesterday, wasn't it? As we said, adios, bon voyage to Keir Starmer. And today, in the spirit of togetherness and diversity, we say bonjour, hello, ciao, konnichiwa, hola, namaste, or just hello to the new leader of the Labour Party and soon-to-be Prime Minister, the Mancunian manicured mainstream man. Don't know where that came from. Andy Burnham is heading to London on his penny farthing. Take me a couple of days to get there in his flat cap with his... I'm joking. Andy Burnham arrives. He says in a speech that he's going to be distinctly Labour, that his government is going to... This is him talking to... I was very surprised by the interview. It's him talking to Gary Lineker about raising taxes. Morning.
Economically, what can you do differently? A wealth tax, possibly, of the super rich, which is what a lot of people, economists, are calling for.
But I'm not going to rule things out right now. I do believe we need a greater sense of fairness and people feeling that things are being done in the right way and a fair way. But at the same time, you know, I don't want to sort of be perceived as somebody who's coming in with grudges and agendas and, you know, going to just immediately find or demonise one group or create a new way of dividing people.
Sorry, can I just ask something? And this is across the media spectrum. That is Gary Lineker's Goal Hanger podcast, and that was recorded on the 15th of July. A goal hanger podcast gets the would-be Prime Minister of this country, but the Sun, the Mail, the Telegraph, the Times, everybody else, he won't even take a question from. How bad is that? He's already, by the way, got problems, and I'm not having a go at him. I'll wait to judge, but already the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, are going, excuse me, mate, by the way, just so you know, we're skint. You can't have any more money to borrow, and you're in dire straits. The left are up in arms before he's even arrived on his penny farthing. They're going, you better make Ed Miliband Chancellor, because if you don't, we're going to kick off. Yesterday, as well as Starmer left, you know what he did? I'm sure you did by now. He made Sadiq Khan a lord. That's right, 150 days at 365 quid, tax-free. That's £45,000. The man who says, I've changed London. Really? Ask the cabbies, ask the knife crime victims, ask the people who've had their phones or their watches, and then ask yourself this, Sadiq Khan. Watch what the truth about London is in Marble Arch. Our reporter, Samara Gill, tried to go undercover because she'd heard rumours of what can only be described as a shanty town. Watch this footage, peeps. Unbelievable.
OK, we're gonna go. It's come to light through multiple media publications that there is a much darker underbelly to all this. Albanian and Romanian gangs operate in this area, some extremely, well, some trailing us right now, doing a circle as we speak. I'm feeling quite intimidated. What? It's a public area. Okay. We're gonna go.
That is the reality of the streets of the United Kingdom. If that doesn't make you concerned about illegal immigration, about the lack of police, about law and order, about values, that's what Andy Burnham should be talking about. I'll tell you something else, Andy Burnham, you should be talking about. This appalling story on the front of the Mail. Sorry to sound angry. You know that bloke, Shabir Ahmed, that grooming gang boss that raped over 50 white innocent young girls? This man was released after 14 years of a 41-year sentence recently. He's living in a bail hostel. I'm not allowed to say where. The government are full of platitudes. We're working out how legally we can get him, you know, sent back to Pakistan. What they didn't tell you was last night they gave Pakistan £153 million in foreign aid. Pakistan! OK, good. Gave them the money. They're blaming us for him and saying it's our fault and we still give them the money. It's all upside down where I come from. 0344 499 1000. Let's go to Hampshire. Benedict Spence on the way in a tick. Laura Jane, good morning.
Good morning. Your father, as PPS to Queen Elizabeth, would have known this answer. The peerage works like this. If you're an inherited peer, you get that from your father and your father before you. If you are an elected peer to the House of Lords, you are simply elected by prime ministers or, for inverted commas, good works, or you are knighted by the king with a sword. Now, Sadiq, whatever he's called, was knighted. And if he's going into the House of Lords, the chances are when he gives up his mayorship in 2 years' time, he will become an MP, and then the rest is history. And Andy Burnham, run, rabbit, run, because Nigel is running faster than you. And that's really all I had to say from Hampshire.
Thank you very much indeed, Laura Jane in Hampshire. Let's go to Dan. Dan, good morning. Hello. Dan.
Morning, Jezza. It's Dan from Kent. Here's a simple message for the King of the North, Andy Burnham. If you want to succeed as Prime Minister and to make Alarm Clock Britain a lot happier, lower taxes, scrap net zero, stop the boats, and drill, baby, drill. And as for Sadiq Khan being put into the House of Lords, he's got to be known as Little Lord Farquhar. Great show.
I'm glad you said Farquhar. A copy, says Margaret, of that footage of Shamara should be sent to Sadiq Khan, Shabana and the new PM. You know what? The one that's just been parachuted into number 10. Sadiq, get your backside down to Park Lane. Samara doing a job and has to put up with that. Jordan says, I want to say a big thank you to all at Talk TV for giving true insight into the real news without smoke or mirrors, just straight down the road. Common sense. This is the true home of common sense, the straight-talking people. That's the truth. Spread the word, Jordan, because it's true. Let's go to David in Gloucester. David, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy. How are we all?
Well, I'm struggling. It's 5 days on the bounce. I'm looking for a long service medal. It's a Friday, for Christ's sake, man. No, I'm good. What can I do for you?
Well, I actually said, first of all, it's like, with this Pakistan job, giving them money despite the fact that we've got this child rapist here in the country. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting, and it's designed to wind everybody up, and I'm sure that's the reason they've done it, deliberately. And the other thing is, with this blooming Sadat Khan being pushed into the Lords by our Starmer friend, didn't he turn around and say, tell Trump he's my friend? Therefore, this is the ultimate in nepotism.
Oh, complete nepotism, and many people concerned this morning that the same's going to happen that happened to Cameron, that he's going to be ennobled and somehow end up in the cabinet. There are other people on the right saying this is great because if he gives up being London Mayor, we might have to get some sense back. Thank you for your call. Let's go to West Yorkshire. Derek, you're on Talk Breakfast. Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Jeremy.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Time is money and I'm skint. Crack on.
Right, yeah. No, just early on you were on about Lord Khan and the name for Lord Khan. What came to my mind was the old film Lord of the Flies. Just do a remake, Lord of the Lies. But
Very good. Well, you know what flies do, they? Yes, anyway, thank you, Derek, in West Yorkshire. God, can I... Jez, I watched what happened to poor Samara Gill. That is awful, and Starmer has the nerve to tell us he leaves the country in a better place. These politicians have turned their back on their country and their people. Oh, look at... this is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Sorry, there's so much that I'm reading here. At 8:10, though, let's say a very good morning to the ultimate political commentator. God knows whose flat he'll be in. Benedict Spence, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I've just seen you on Sky in a beige jacket. Was that recorded last night? Because you're all in a different outfit, or have you taken the jacket off?
I just took the jacket off. No, that's all. I can grab it. I can put it back on for you. If you want.
No. It's fine. Now, we're going to talk seriously, but I want to start with something that's proven to be a rather large talking point this morning. This is Andy Burnham describing to his followers and appearing real as to how a cup of tea should be made. Morning, Andy.
Yeah, all that. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that it softens the tea bag a bit and makes it stronger. Might be wrong. I know that will offend a lot of people, but there'll be no legislation to ban that.
Milk first. So, Benedict Spence, I know you have a valet or a butler who would use the best tea bags with a what was that thing called? A sieve thing. Anyway, if you put tea into a cup, do you bash the bag around a bit. That didn't sound right, did it? And take it out before you put the milk in. We need to know, is it milk? What's the truth? You're a classy gentleman.
I leave the tea bag in to steep for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then I put the milk in at the end.
Before you take the tea bag out?
Yes.
Oh, heathen. Heathen.
Yes. Give it a few minutes. Give it a few minutes extra. You want as much out of that tea bag as possible. That's what you need.
Now, Isabel Oakeshott and I put 2 tea bags in. That didn't sound right either. Benedict, we said yesterday au revoir to Keir Starmer. Today we say bonjour, hello, ciao, konnichiwa, hola, namaste, whatever, to Andy Burnham, the self-styled King of the North. He's arriving on his penny farthing to lead Labour. And he says that his government is going to be distinctly Labour. You heard him being interviewed by, Gary Lineker, that was a surprise, talking about wealth taxes, etc., etc. But he's already been warned by the IMF that we're skinned. So what does he do? Come on, nothing, man. Hamstrung.
I mean, the IMF, of course, are the ones to whom people go cap in hand when they've run out of money to say, can we have some money? So it is important to listen to what they say. If they say, listen, we can sort of see where this is going, and that there's there's a greater than zero chance that at some point in the next couple of years, you are going to come to us cap in hand and say, can we have some money? And we're not particularly thrilled by that. And I have to say, Andy Burnham, from his own mouth, it's been thus far, I want to be, go back to what would be considered proper Labour. He's been talking about increasing spending on certain things. And to be fair, even the IMF, they turned around and said, listen, we get it. You need to spend more on defence. Your NATO allies are tearing their hair out over this. We understand there are some things on which you do need to raise spending. But Burnham has also come out and said he may ask the public to give a little bit more, which I think is a bit rich, given that they aren't going to be asked. They're just going to be told, we're reaching into your pocket and taking out a little bit more money. There's no option here. You don't get the chance to say no. And I have to say, I think it's also really going to ratchet up the pressure on Burnham. People are going to turn around justifiably and say, OK, so you're coming in, having been effectively parachuted in by your party, and you're going to be putting taxes up. Where is your mandate for that? How can you turn around to people and say, I'm going to take more of your money, having never put this question to the people? I understand that this is not how our system works, but the pressure is going to be on him from the get-go if this is what he pursues.
And I don't want to be cynical, because essentially I'm a patriot and I want my country to work. But I've absolutely no doubt that the gloss will come off very quickly. He'll be fighting exactly as you said by Christmas, which is people will go, well, let me give you that story in the front of the Mail. And this isn't down to Andy Burnham, right? I mean, that paedophile who raped 50-plus girls, who got a 41-year combined sentence, released on tag after just 14. Big noises from number 10 under Starmer. We're going to deport him. We're going to find a legal way. Last night, they agreed to pay Pakistan £153 million. Now, the reason I use this as an example is, if you're saying to the British people, do you know what, times are hard, the IMF say we're up against a wall, I need more tax, why the bloody hell are we giving £150 million to Pakistan, which is probably better off than us, and not being able to stand up for what's right and wrong? That's the difference. It's the priorities, and the British people don't feel they're a priority anymore, Benedict.
Yeah, the charity industrial complex in the UK is a racket. Huge amounts of money are given to NGOs. I think, in fact, more than half of all charitable donations given to charities in the UK that operate overseas is, in fact, just given by the government. It's the government going, oh, well, we want to appear nice, and you're doing things that we don't want to do, and also it gives us plausible deniability. So here's the money to go and, I don't know, teach school children in Pakistan how to do interpretive dance. All of that sort of nonsense. It comes out of our pockets. Nobody in their right mind would look at this and go, this is a sensible use of money. And I think what's particularly egregious about this is we're talking here about a particularly nasty incident of a foreign criminal who shouldn't be in the UK. And we're constantly told by the very clever people in this country, oh, you can't just deport him. There are mechanisms against that because it's against his human rights. To which I would say, all right, let's take your argument at face value, that it is against people's human rights to deport them after they've committed heinous crimes. Why aren't we then taking international aid, which, as you say, is in the billions, to build more prisons, to keep them in prison longer? Because they're also being released early, because we're being told there aren't enough prison spaces. So if what we're saying is, ultimately, we can't just, I don't know, take them in a plane and drop them off at Islamabad airport and they go...
Why not? Why not?
That's your problem.
Of course we can.
Of course we can. But if we are
Stop
going to
giving them aid, instigate some trade sanctions and stand up for what this country is, but more importantly, stand up for the people of this country. This thing I don't get, and you've got more experience, years of commentating on this, but I don't understand, Benedict, why seemingly a whole raft of politicians, and I include Tories in this, don't seem to be able to pick, understand or feel the vibe, the nerve, the pulse of the United Kingdom. I think it's getting to a point where you've got the activists on the left, you've got the people on the far right who... I have no time for either of that lot. What I have time for is the people that listen to this, all 14 of them, alarm clock Brits who go to work and pay the taxes, and at the end of the week, they might not even have enough to save for a holiday or get a takeout. They're trying to bring their kids up and do what's right. And do politicians not understand that millions of people are going... And it's the word I use all the time now. That's not fair. It's not fair anymore.
Yeah, we have to remember that an awful lot of politicians, well, for a start, they're not normal people. They don't come from normal backgrounds. They don't go through the same education process as normal people. Far too much about both the Labour and Conservative parties, and the Lib Dems as well, if we're being honest. A lot of these people come through this sort of NGO pipeline. You look at the sheer number of MPs who have never had a real job because they went to Oxford, it's always Oxford, and they did PPE or whatever it was that they did, and then they went to work for an MP, and then maybe they spent some time working in the charity sector or something like that. Their worldview is very different. They have a different moral code to the average person. The outrageous thing is they think that makes them better than the average person. And there's no other explanation really for what it is that they foist on us. And the very most basic aspect of all of this, the most obvious example, is immigration. Repeatedly, over and over again, British people say we want less immigration. They aren't turning around saying we're racist or Britain can't have anybody from anything anywhere else like that, or they have to be a certain colour or have to be a certain religion. They aren't saying that. All they're saying is, listen, the resources aren't here, they aren't matching the numbers that are coming in, and the system doesn't work, so can we please have less of this? To which the politicians, like clockwork, turn around and go, ratchet it up, more immigration. And
Why, Benedict? Let me read you something here. Starmer's legacy, £663 million deal, 3-year deal with France. The infamous one in, one out. 1,087 returned to France from August last year. By the end of May, over 36,000 migrants arrived. That's 36 in for every 1 out. Why can't politicians understand that that's how the country feels? Why is it such an anathema? Why are their advisors not saying, listen, forget your focus groups, forget what you think you're doing to curry favour. The truth is you're not. This is the issue.
Well, there's two competing arguments, one on the left, one on the right. Those on the left fundamentally do not believe in the idea of national identity because the end point of Marxism or, of their ideology is the eradication of all of these differentiations. They don't believe in nation states, they don't believe in borders, and also they believe that nation states such as ours are responsible for huge amounts of suffering in history. So they think off the bat that that is a good enough reason to get rid of all of those things that you and I and the average person understand to be necessary components of society. On the right, and this is where it gets rather tricky, because it is also a fault of many of the adherents of Margaret Thatcher, is that they believe that fundamentally what matters more than anything else is the market, and that the nation comes beneath the market. What they believe is the interests of companies, corporations, and things like that, the ability to drive down wages to make things more competitive, is more important than the dignity, the unity of the nation. To that end, that is why you get things like the Boris wave, hundreds of thousands of people brought in to work in the care sector for less money than other people in the country would otherwise work for. Or, an example I've had a lot of experience of this morning. Uber. Once upon a time, the taxi system in this country was working class people that memorized every street. Now what it is you get people who will do it for a lot cheaper, a lot less training, they're a lot less skilled, they'll come in from India or Pakistan or Nigeria, and you can employ them and it works for a lot less, and the company makes more. And the argument that people on the right would say is that creates more economic opportunity. Maybe it does, but certainly I think in a lot of cases where mass migration has been used, I don't think it actually does improve situations, because what it leads to is lots of people already in this country, the working class, on the scrap heap, left without work, because they're being undercut by people being brought in at the behest of multinational corporations to do the work for less. So that's the two competing arguments you've got there. Both of them are fundamentally destructive to the integrity of the nation state. And as you say, Jeremy, lots of ordinary people sit there and they go, this isn't fair, to which, if we're honest here, people on the right and left at the very top go, we don't care that it's not fair.
How frightening! How frightening is that? The politicians. Do you know? It's almost, to me, it's almost narcissistic. But there's a point at the end at which they won't be re-elected, and that leads me to want to scream and go, you're representing people and you're steadfastly ignoring what they think. You saw that footage that Samara did. I mean, there's just so much about what's going on at the moment. And you know, I think the shine will come off Burnham very quickly, but I think he's in a difficult position. What did you make quickly of Sadiq Khan being ennobled?
Oh, honestly, there's nobody less deserving, and I'd include Thomas Tuchel in that. Right? It's a slap in the face to everybody.
Well, you wouldn't know this about Benedict, because Benedict's you're a big football fan. We need your take on the World Cup. I think he is a complete disgrace on £8 million. I think his tactics were totally wrong, and I want Guardiola at all cost.
Oh, if you think Guardiola would be better, I mean, one thing I would say is Man City should have won multiple Champions Leagues over the last few years, and they haven't, because Guardiola has a habit of throwing insane tactical decisions as well. And this is a similar thing to the...
Well, at least it'd be attacking.
They would, but this is a similar problem, actually. Very clever people like Guardiola or Thomas Tuchel think they know better. Sometimes the most obvious solution is the one that everybody knows. When you've got a 1-0 lead, you need fast guys on the wing so that you can hit people on the counter-attack. But if you're a brilliant tactician, you think, nah, I've got an even better solution and I can come up with something better. That's Guardiola's problem in a nutshell. But honestly, the whole Thomas Tuchel thing... Honestly, actually, I don't think that we should sack him. I think we should make him stay. I think we should make him earn that money back. I think we should turn around to him and say, listen, you can have your salary, but a lot of this is going to be dependent on how the Euros go in a few years' time. Because, my word, what I would like is for a manager to learn from his mistakes. He has messed up in a huge way, but he shouldn't just be that we go, all right, get rid of the manager, start again, because the next guy will make the same mistake. I want some accountability. I want to see the improvement. I want to see Adam Wharton start for England at the Euros. I want to see the end, frankly, of this idea that Declan Rice is some sort of magical maestro who can conduct an orchestra.
Well, you can't be insulting the ex-West Ham legend. I thought he was very poor. I thought he looked out on his legs, I think.
He's a centre-half. He's a centre-half. And I would say to anybody, go and listen to what Graham Souness was saying, I think on TalkSport, I think yesterday, about actually the limitations of some of these England players. He's bang on the money about that.
Who do you support?
Liverpool, you know that.
Get off. Listen, I sometimes forget how brilliant you are. It's great to have you on, my friend. Benedict Spence on Talk Breakfast. Thank you. 8:25. Phil, good morning.
Hey, Jezza. Phil in Nottingham here. I always thought the House of Lords was there to scrutinise the government, and therefore it's supposed to be filled with experts within their field, people who have made an outstanding contribution to the field that they're an expert in. What's Sadiq Khan an expert in? What, being a...
she's the best-looking world leader in my book, so I wouldn't fall out with her. I quite fancy Georgia. When she's not busy running the country, perhaps we could hook up.
Well, you do know she's single because her partner tried to have a threesome, and that got leaked to the media, and they had to get a divorce. So she's back on the market.
She's on the market, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Right, get me a ticket for
a threesome as well.
I'll get in trouble with my wife about this. Next question.
UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. If you're a regular to the breakfast show, you know that technically I'm completely incapable, which is why Christian's approaching the studio. We'll just get him on camera. You can see his shirt. You are a... He's just... Why have you sucked your stomach in? I've messed the screen up. You all right?
What have you done?
And I don't know what I've done. Oh, there he is. There is Christian. Little wave to the camera. No, he's not into that. Oh, it was just a slap round the end. 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. Ronnie, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy. This is Ronnie Wood from Newcastle. I'm being really serious here with Andy Burnham. Like, I can't believe he's just walked in. It's a coup. It really is.
Good. Well done, Ronnie. Ronnie, is that the Ronnie Wood, you think? He sounded like it was the Ronnie Wood, for reasons I'm not going into. But thank you, my friend. I agree with you. 0344 499 1000. This, of course, is the news that... yesterday we said bon voyage to Sir Keir Starmer, and today, and I'm being politically correct, we say bonjour, hello, ciao, konnichiwa, hola, namaste, to Andy Burnham, going to cough, who's arriving. It's going to be a... need some water, sorry. There's going to be a Labour event. I am literally... not going well, is it?
Go to Matt.
Let's say good morning to Matt Vickers as I pass out. Hello, Matt.
Good morning.
Keep talking, I'm drinking.
Good morning. I'm dying to hear the story of the Ronnie Wood. Yeah, I'm up north today. Life is good. I've escaped Parliament, back on the stump. Time to go.
Well, can I just say, are you missing this Labour event today? Because Lucy Power's going to open proceedings at 12 with a speech. Then Shabana Mahmood, who might or might not be Chancellor, is going to deliver results as a role of chair of Labour's National Executive Committee. And then at 2:30, having got there on his penny farthing, Andy Burnham is going to make a speech at which he's going to say that his government, Matt, is going to be distinctly Labour. They will have the courage to fix the big things that politics has neglected. Just as a little side note, he hasn't even started yet. The IMF are saying, we're skint, we're not lending you any money. And the left are saying, if you don't make Ed Miliband Chancellor, you're right in the poop.
Well, the thing about this is what summed it all up last night was Jeremy Corbyn said he is suspiciously optimistic about a Burnham premiership. I think it's terrifying. I mean, the reality is we're probably going back to all Labour. We're going left, left, left. There's enough challenges in this country without them coming up with alternative ones. We've heard nothing from him yet. This week in the House of Commons, we put forward a motion asking him to come, open up for one day and take a few questions. Yeah. Wouldn't even discuss the prospect. He's arriving in office. He has not said a word about what he's going to do about energy prices, what he's going to do about the welfare bill, what he's going to do about taxes being through the roof, what he's going to do. I mean, we've got to also remember we are in a defence crisis.
Yeah.
Secretary of State for Defence in this country resigned because he said we are not protecting ourselves adequately.
I couldn't agree more. And I do think, and listen, I'm a patriot. I want my country to succeed, but there's so much more. It's all very glossy. There's no detail. And interestingly, if you think about the Starmer government that came in saying absolutely nothing on the back of the Tories had lost the faith of most people in this country, and he got in with that Ming Vase approach, didn't he, where he said nothing and then it unravelled. And you know, we can have the argument about Burnham's being parachuted in and what does it say about the quality of the 400 MPs, blah, blah, blah. The fact is, this man on Monday will accede to the most powerful job in British politics, and we know nothing about him. And I was very supportive of the Conservatives trying to call that motion. I thought it was utterly disgraceful. I can't speak to him, the electorate can't speak to him, now MPs can't speak to him. How does this... I'm not sure politically that's right at all, but he's got so many issues, and I genuinely I think the gloss will come off very quickly, Matt.
Well, I think, who is he? What does he stand for? He has no answers to any of those major problems. We all know what the country needs to fix. On defence, he's literally given no answer at all. I mean, it sums up Jeremy Corbyn, suspiciously optimistic. We are in a terrifying place. The economy's going to hell in a handcart. Kids are unable to get a job. Defence, the country is not being protected adequately. We've got a guy rocking up, getting the key to number 10. And we don't even know what he stands for. He's not answered a single question. He's not come to any of these debates and engaged in anything. It's terrifying. I think we're going to end up with the second king of flip-flop.
You're back in Stockton-on-Tees, and word reaches me that you are taking 2 weeks off. What does that mean?
Well, it's actually more than 2 weeks. It's recess. We have finished Parliament now for a few weeks.
Right.
So, you know, we don't come messing around down there. We come back to our constituency. I'm going to go out knocking on doors.
Are you spending the next 3 weeks in your constituency? Are you flying off on taxpayers' expense to some exotic 5-star holiday?
I'm spending my time here. I don't know if you can get a holiday on the taxpayer.
Well, there's no reason why you can't come on the show. What's all this? We're losing Matt, Christian says, for 3 weeks. Don't be rude. I've had Kemi on the phone. She wants you to be on once a week, OK?
We're gonna talk remotely. Sometimes a bit of distance and a bit of space is a good thing in a relationship, Jeremy. You know, you've got to give people a bit of space.
Sorry, are you dumping me for 3 weeks? You're not going to come on at all whilst you're at home?
I'm going to come on remotely. I'm going to chat to you like this on a regular...
that's fine. Yeah, no, well, don't worry about the pay-per-view, as long as we can have you, because genuinely, hand on heart, you're cheap. Can I just... I'm joking. Can I ask you something that really, really, really has got to me today? Is the story on the front of the Mail. We've got this man, Sadiq Khan, who is going to be made a lord by Starmer in one final disgusting thing. And he talks all about London, and he talks all about, you know, how great everything is, and you got Burnham the same. And they talk about how Labour, you know, care about all sides, right? This Rochdale rapist got 41 years concurrently. Shabir Ahmed served 14, is out on licence, Matt. And yesterday a government that Sadiq Khan supports, that Keir Starmer created, that Andy Burnham's going to take over, having told us to our faces they were going to find a legal way of getting this man out and back to Pakistan, quietly sign off £153 million in aid to Pakistan, who say, actually... they made a statement saying, it's down to you, it's your problem, not ours. Can you tell me, if you lot were in power tomorrow, that £153 million would be spent on people in this country who need help? It's beyond my comprehension.
Well, this story speaks to everything that is broke about government and parliament and politics. The fact that this sick individual is still in the country is part one. One of the most vile, evil, sick people to walk the earth is in this country against our will. He shouldn't be here. He should be gone. The fact that government is then so incompetent that despite the fact we're paying record levels of tax, people's businesses are going to the wall because they cannot afford to pay those taxes. Families are struggling to meet those incredibly high taxes. And that money is getting thrown away to a country that is refusing to take back its own rubbish. Is terrified. It's terrifying.
But why don't we, a bit like the ridiculous deal we have with France? I want ministers, I want government officials to go, no, you're not getting that, and we're going to drop him at Islamabad, and if you don't like it, I'm not going to create visas, I'm not going to support you in trade. We are going to stand up for Great Britain. Why? Somebody said it earlier, Benedict, I think, we have this... Is Great Britain just... You know, we want to show the world that we put everybody first except our own people. That, to me, equals laughingstock, Matt. Seriously.
Countries that refuse to take back their own evil, vile foreign criminals, if you refuse to take home your own rubbish, you should not get a penny from this country, no matter how big or good the cause. You should not be given any visa opportunities. We should stop anybody from your country coming if you're not willing to take back the stuff that comes over here, abuses our hospitality and offends. Should be no ifs, no buts. We're absolutely getting spanked by these people and we're just failing to stand up for ourselves.
Do you think that politics has become so, I don't know the right way to describe it, so focus group run, so, a bit like the England football team, too scared to attack, let's just sit here and wait and wait and wait. Do you think that politicians are not conviction politicians anymore. It just frustrates me that personally, I think Andy Burnham will be Starmer 2.0, and I'm not trying to be rude to him, but he wanted the job, and he's going to have to face the criticism.
I think when you look at it, it's two things. One part of this story, I think, just comes down to sheer incompetence, complete and utter incompetence. The other part of it, you've got to reflect on who is in office. You've got to reflect on Hermer, what he's doing to our veterans, what he's, you know, those people are not Britain loving. They think about us last, actually. They get down to the negotiations.
But they were elected. This is my point, and you know, I'm your biggest fan. The Tory party had lost the ear of the British people. This was allowed to happen. But I still don't understand how politicians of all sides... I'll take the grooming gang inquiry. I'll take the immigration issues. I'll take net zero. I'll take drilling. I'll take everything you can imagine. Do politicians listen? You've always been very open with me, and I really love you for that. But do politicians give a toss about the opinions of millions and millions of people that in this country go, well, it makes no sense, does it, for us to keep this man who attacked our children, who's now at large to do it again, and the country that say they won't have him back will give 150 million quid to. If I said that to anybody in any other country, they go like that. As England... sorry, what's happened to you lot? That's the truth.
I think, do you know what? Anybody at home who's paying that ever-increasing bill, who's looking at what's happening to our justice system, who's looking at what's coming into this country, is right to be utterly infuriated. And some of these issues, they seem to come and they go and they disappear. But actually, we're putting an offering forward. We've had Kemi out there battering him on stuff like the grooming gangs inquiry, without which we wouldn't be having that grooming gangs inquiry. Yeah. There are people in Parliament who are willing to walk through a lobby and vote against having an inquiry.
Why? Explain that mentality. Explain that mentality to me, Matt.
I really couldn't explain that inquiry, that viewpoint. I find it stunning. I think part of it is about, well, we talk about it, don't we? We talk about all the things that have gone wrong in recent times. We talk about that winter fuel allowance that was ripped from our pensioners. We talk about what's been done to our veterans. We talk about what's been done to our farmers. We talk about the fact that people fought back on the idea that we'd have an inquiry into grooming gangs. There are MPs in there, elected by people, who went through the lobby and voted against it. The only time they saw fit to stand up to Starmer was after the local elections, where they thought they were going to lose their job. That sums it up. That sums up why some people are in politics and how they make their decisions. They don't go in there to fix the problems that their constituents are facing. Instead, they seem to be on a conveyor belt to try and get a job at the end of it all. It's just, yeah, it's sick.
Can I just point out, it was very Peter Kay. You know, when he went, we're going to Tenerife that way, you went in the House of Commons and you pointed your finger towards your wall, but you're in Stockton-on-Tees.
Well, that way to the train station. I don't know if it's that way to London.
I've got a bigger issue today than all of this, which is tea. Have you seen the Andy Burnham clip? Have you seen this?
Oh, the milk first and the soggy tea.
Right, so see, one person said to me, I think this is disgusting spending so much time on this. I mean, there's a lot of serious things. But, I mean, I think it rather sums up the concerns that we have, that a man to try and show that he's a man of the people. Georgina in Cambridge, I live in a hard water area and was told that if you put the milk in before the hot water, it stops any scum forming on your tea. It works. Now I know that our Andy makes his. I might revert back and put up with the scum. How do you make the perfect cup of tea? Matt Vickers, Deputy Chairman of the Tory Party.
As you will know, Jezza, I'm more of a black coffee kind of guy, but I can't imagine for a minute ever putting the milk in before. In fact, I think my mother would have given me a slap round the ear if I'd started messing around like that. They instruct you on how to make this tea.
So water on tea bag, squeeze bag out, put in bin, put milk in, not milk first, yes?
I think that's how 99.9% of the public do it, isn't it? I think that's
good man. So we've ascertained that despite the fact that you're on the stump, as you describe it, in Stockton over there, you can come on virtually, remotely. I missed that. What did you say?
But I'm out talking to real people, alarm clock Brits.
Good boy, good boy. We love you. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Matt Vickers, Deputy Chairman of the Tory Party. Andrew in Dudley, regarding tea, if using a teapot, then definitely milk first. Oh, my God, then, Paul. Where's he gone, then? Oh, I've lost my next guest because I was late. I'm so sorry. I apologise to Liam Halligan. That's the way it goes. Liam was going to come on and talk about, well, the fact that the Labour Party are going to screw us up financially. But I understand he's got a thing. You see, I didn't know that. But that's just what happens. It's live radio. It's fine. Kelvin, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy. I think the whole country's got a good welcome message for Andy Burnham. the same message they've got for the whole of the Labour Party. Do one. We don't want you. Beat it. Bye.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Just gone, what is it, 8:45. Sorry about Liam Halligan. We'll get Liam on at some point. He was waiting. We ran over. Apologies for that, my friend. 0344 499 1000. Kelvin says, good morning, Jez. The alarm clock Brits, to me, are like modern-day slaves. They're forced to work longer hours, have more than one job, to be robbed by this government, the last, so they can feed, I'm afraid, illegal migrants. I feel like a slave to the cause, says Kelvin in Cheadle. I get it, Jez. I'm boiling with rage watching Samara and your crew attacked by those immigrants in Marble Arch in London. Andy Burnham won't do a thing about the boats coming in. If anything, he will welcome them with open arms and put them first over his own citizens. He's more bothered about how his brews are made. It's only a matter of time before the country implodes. It's interesting, actually. Leanne says being Prime Minister is not Andy Burnham's cup of tea. Yeah, Keith in Lincolnshire. Welcome, Andy. There's no money left. Morning, Jez. Great show as always. Well, I'm gobsmacked that we are trying to deport a child rapist to Pakistan and they're refusing to take him, and we reward them with over 150 million quid in aid. I give up. I sometimes want to turn off, but I can't, as it's where we find the truth. Keep going and keep doing what you are doing. 0344 499 1000. We'll do some sport ahead of 9. Next up, we've got Sir John Redwood as well. Michael in Norfolk. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, dear friend. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you. It's the first time I've actually had the experience.
Well, I hope it's an experience that you'll cherish for us, or maybe you'll be that depressed you'll never ring again. What can I do for you, my dear? Whereabouts in Norfolk?
We're in Banham, which is where the zoo is. We're about 7 miles from Dis.
Dis. Now, you see, I know, honestly, you think I've got a story about something. I have. We went through Norfolk with my parents once and I got caught short and I had to have a wee in Dis, and it became a legendary thing in my family that I had a in Dis. Anyway, big man, what you got for me?
Yeah, just a quickie one. You know, Sadiq Khan, it may be a good thing that he is going into the House of Lords, because he can never be Prime Minister now, can he?
Well, no, you're wrong. He's not called Sadiq. I must point that out, but it was brilliant. Sadiq Khan will be ennobled as a Lord, and if you think back, and this is what I wanted to say to you, think about David Cameron. Richie Sunak wanted him back in government as the Foreign Secretary, so he made him a Lord, and that way you can be in the Cabinet. Many people's fear, my friend, is that actually this could be a precursor, big word, why are you laughing, you lot? A precursor to him actually being back in the Cabinet, or he could, in the end, be Andy Burnham's successor, for God's sake.
Oh, good grief, yes, you're dead right, aren't you? How depressing is that?
It is totally depressing. My friend, thank you so much. It's lovely. Michael there in Dis, where I once went for a wee. Paul, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy. Paul here from Germany. I just want to say that I think it's been really taken out of context what the Tuchel said about the English DNA. Yeah, you have to remember English is not his first language, so it's most probably thinking in German first. You say something when you mean something else. But then again, his tactic was wrong. After we went 1-0 ahead, that was just wrong. And it is on him. But I also think that our captain, he should have said something. He should have said something to Tuchel and said, listen, we shouldn't go back. Let's carry on going forward. Let's carry on playing the game.
Welcome back to Talk Sports, 12 minutes to 9. We're live across the United Kingdom. Full match coverage of Stockport against Altrincham later on right here on Talk Sport 2. And we'll continue to debate how Tuchel, very good of you. Listen, people have got opinions. Paul talking about, I think Tuchel's gone, should go. I think we want Pep Guardiola. Do I want to be talking about how Andy Burnham makes his tea? No, but what I do is give my listeners what they want. Gillian in Northern Ireland, does no one use a teapot anymore, for Christ's sake? It's the best way to brew the tea. Milk in first, then tea from pot. Perfect. Morning, Jez. What does Charlie... I've just tuned in and watched some... What does Charlie Rowley's hairdresser do for a living? The definitive way to make tea, coffee in, hot... What? Sorry, Steve. This is what he sent us. The definitive way to make a cup of tea. Put the coffee in first, hot water, milk. Can't stand the tea stuff, I'm afraid. Well, there'll be a cup of coffee, you... Great. Don't forget Tooting's pie and mash. Do you know, honestly, some of the messages here are just so brilliant that I just don't even know. Oh, hello. Victorian or Edwardian people would put the milk in their tea first to cool the cup before adding the scalding water. It could sometimes crack the porcelain, and cups were very, very expensive. John Lamport in Derbyshire Dales. That's quite a large area. It could be anywhere. Well said, Jeremy. You summed up the England match perfectly, and Max Scott put into words, I'm sure, how all of our England fans feel. Great. Michelle's in Altrincham. I can't bear to watch anything that relates to England after that loss. I'm still speechless. I do feel sorry for the lads, though. I honestly think we see the last of Harry Kane and England shirt, which makes it even more upset. The manager needs to go, and I agree with you. Bring in Pep Guardiola. You don't care about the Falklands? Yes, of course I care about the Falklands. I'll tell you what I said earlier. I don't think there's any benefit in getting to a debate about those ridiculous cheating Argentinians holding up that flag. The game is lost. What we proved in the Falklands when people lost their lives was that we cared about principles. What I care about, actually, probably in their memory, is that we don't seem to have principles anymore. We don't seem to have values in this country. We seem to have become complete and utter apologists for everything, whether we're sending 150 million quid to Pakistan and allowing rapists that are born there to stay in this country, whether we're welcoming migrants and saying, we'll do whatever for you, whilst good old alarm clock Brits are on their backside. What's the name of the man in Darlington? Chris, good morning. How are you?
Morning. Yeah, fine, thanks, Jeremy.
Why is it that people who get through always sound so shocked? Hello, Jeremy. Why are you talking to me? I'm joking. How are you? What can I do for you, Christoph?
It's just to say that if Thomas Tuchel was any good, surely he would be manager of Germany.
Very interesting. Do you want Tuchel gone?
Oh, of course.
You do?
I want an English manager. Sorry, I don't care about Pep Guardiola. I want an English manager. Simple as.
What about Eddie Howe?
Well, give him a go. Why not?
And what about Andy Burnham? Are you looking forward to him becoming the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom?
Not at all. Not at all.
Why?
He won't do anything for us. Well, he's a loony lefty, isn't he? Simple as.
And for you, the other big question of the morning: Sadiq Khan's going to be made a lord. How do you feel about that?
Horrendous. The man should be gone. He shouldn't even be there, should he?
And I suppose the other question is, how do you make a perfect cup of tea?
Tea bag in, hot water, give it a stir, milk, and then take the tea bag out.
Sorry. See, everybody's got it. Oh, God. Good man. Thank you for tuning in. That's Darlington's view. Alan's in Middlesbrough. As a Yorkshire man with a degree in science. What? How do those two sentences go together? I mean, not that Yorkshire people can't get a degree in science. It's just that, hello, my name's Alan. I'm a Yorkshireman with a degree in science. Tea requires boiling water as close to 100 degrees as possible. Oh, yeah, here we go. To leach the tea-tasting molecules into the water Adding milk lowers the temperature and affects the leaching process and spoils the taste. You see, he sounds a bit like my mate, Adrian, right? Adrian professes to be the greatest barbecuer in the land. The problem is with him, if you go for a barbecue at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's about 7 o'clock, he's got probes, he's got the egg thing, he prepares it, and in the end, you just want to go and get a bloody McDonald's because it's a cup of tea, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how, I honestly cannot understand, and you lot have gone mad for Tuchel. It's all going, but I read some of this, it's absolutely extraordinary. Pete in Southend. Charlie's hair from earlier, 2 hours ago. It's OK on the left, but dire on the right. Dave's in London. Good morning, JK. What would I say to Andy Burnham? Don't unpack your bloody bags. Anthony just sums up this programme. If someone else makes tea, if someone useless makes tea, they put enough milk in to make the tea look like a good colour. It tastes horrid. If you add milk first, the kids have to squeeze the bag, plus they're not squeezing a boiling bag. Well, I just think that's somebody who quite believes in slave labour and gets his tea to be made by his children. Outrageous. 0344 499 1000. I do love you guys so much for the way you take me on. Let's say a very good morning to Josh Hall, an Arsenal reporter. Push that button, Big Sammy.
90 minutes in 90 seconds. From The Sun.
Josh Hall, good morning.
Morning, Jeremy. How you doing?
Well, I feel exactly as everybody else feels in England, that Tuchel's a bloody disgrace. It was a complete letdown. I've removed my bunting. I don't want to watch England again. And the front page of The Sun says, don't worry, lads and ladies, 693 days to the Euros. Tell me honestly, I love the title on the back of The Sun, we played like a pub team. Is this on the players or the manager, Josh?
I think that you have to suggest that the tactics that Tuchel used in the last 20 minutes of that final would suggest that it was him who was responsible. I think moving to that back five is sending a message to the players to defend. But it's something that this team suffered with and dealt with under Gareth Southgate. I think that's why England fans are finding it so frustrating, is that Tuchel was the man who was supposed to come in and stop this. And he spent the whole tournament saying, you know, we're going to play football, we're going to keep playing. So for him to then sort of go back on that in the biggest moment and it not work out, that's where the frustration is.
Yeah, and I think we have to call it out for what it was. You know, we all thought he would be different from Southgate, as Gary Phillips says to him. We all believed that his criticisms of how defensive England wasn't going to be good enough. And I know there'll be some people who aren't interested in sport, but the truth of the matter is, it's a pretty seminal moment. But if you go 1-0 up against a team and they were on the ropes, why is there this ability or this lack of faith in having a go? I'd rather lose. I remember Keegan saying I'd rather lose 4-3 than win 1-0. Honestly, the guy in his seminal moment let us down massively. Sorry, completely. The players follow instructions.
Yeah, look, and I think what for me is a big thing about it is that in that Croatia game, he said as well at the start, and he said after the game, Thomas Tuchel, that he felt that England had to play their game. They had to play, and if they go out, they go out on their sword. And unfortunately, in the biggest moment, they didn't play that way. They didn't follow that instruction. Whether or not that's solely down to Tuchel, whether it's Tuchel and the players, but definitely a large part of that responsibility is the way he made those substitutions and the tactical changes he made in that second half.
Should he go? Do you guys at Sun Sport, what do you make of it? I mean, there's a clamour for Guardiola, or other people are saying an England manager. I mean, the FA seem to be steadfastly sticking by a man who's just patently failed and is on £8 million a year. Disgrace.
Yeah, well, look, he's contracted until 2028, and the FA at the moment look pretty steadfast that he will be staying. Of course, there's going to be clamour for him to go. People are frustrated, people are upset. I think if you look and you think England have got to a World Cup semi-final, that in itself is an impressive thing.
I see now, yeah, I don't want to agree, I disagree with you because I love you, but I hate that. I hate that. It's one of the things I hate about being British. I'm not having a go at you personally. Didn't we do well? No, we ballsed up at the exact moment where we could have pressed home our advantage. I think a lot of fans would think that, Josh.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's hard to disagree. And that is my opinion. I think that to come out and to be so brazen about how you want the team to play football and then in the biggest moment not do it, that's the big thing. I think for me, he did do well to get to semi-final, but for me, maybe it's time to move on and find someone else.
Guardiola or an England manager, very quickly.
He could do it, but he needs a lot of work with players, and you don't get a lot of time as an international player to sort of work, an international manager rather, to work with the players. So we have to see.
We thank you, though, all the team at Sun Sports. Fantastic coverage as ever. Back page today, we played like a pub team. You'll get the truth from Josh and his colleagues. Almost 9 o'clock. We're live across the UK. Next out, Sir John Redwood, Rafe Heidelman-Koo, and we'll touch spot with my favourite lady who speaks about all things royal. Angela Levin ahead of 10. We're back in 3.
Breaking news here, the Crowborough Army Training Camp could hold male asylum seekers all the way until 2030 after the Home Office...
Another taxpayer, or even worse, it's the money from our future selves. And we keep making this mistake in Britain.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, or welcome along. Just gone 9 o'clock. We're live across the United Kingdom on the station that talks only about common sense. As people walk into the control room, remember the door's open because the air conditioning's broken and everybody will be able to hear you. So let's just close the door so these poor people who are coming here to watch how it shouldn't be done don't end up on air. There's a young man looking at me as if I've just landed from Mars. You all right, my friend? Thanks for coming in. Right, this is Talk. It's where your views on the day's news are welcome and, well, approachable. I think it's important that you get on. 0344 499 1000 is the number. You can leave a voice note, get a call on. You can text us 87222. What's the news today? Well, yesterday we said bon voyage to Sir Keir Starmer. There were many tears from Rachel Reeves. And today we say... well, listen, we're politically correct on Talk, and I think it's important that we say hello to Andy Burnham, but we also say bonjour, hello, ciao, konnichiwa, hola, or namaste, whatever, as the self-styled King of the North gets on his penny farthing and makes it down the motorway to London. He takes over the Labour Party. He's going to talk about how his new government will be distinctly Labour. And breaking news this hour, that he is actually going to blame Britain's problems, ladies and gentlemen, on one person and one person only. Where have you heard this before? He's going to blame Margaret Thatcher for all the problems that are besetting us right now. This is a lady, and I'm going to defend her, who in 1983, and we haven't got the clip, stood up in the House of Commons and said, if the right honourable gentleman is suggesting that we allow anybody into our country willy-nilly and look after them so they don't go home, he's talking about international anarchy, which, let's be honest, is almost where we're at. The immigration system is out of control in many people's minds. And it was brought to me in great detail, an amazing piece of work by our own Samara Gill. She'd heard rumours of Albanian and Romanian, possibly migrants, gangs, setting up what can only be described as some sort of shanty town, a bunch of tents, not in a... ready for this? Just off Park Lane in Marble Arch. She thought she'd go and investigate. And in our capital city, where its mayor, Sadiq Khan's about to become a lord. This is the reality of Great Britain in 2026. And let me tell you something, Andy Burnham. What you're about to see has got not one thing to do with Margaret Thatcher. Have a watch.
Okay, we're gonna go. It's come to light through multiple media publications that there is a much darker underbelly to all this. Albanian and Romanian gangs operate in this area, some extremely, well, some trailing us right now, doing a circle as we speak. I'm feeling quite intimidated. What? It's a public area. Okay. We're gonna go.
Since Sir Keir Starmer brought in his idea of one in, one out, the now ex-leader of the Labour Party and after Monday, the no longer Prime Minister, 36,000 unvetted men have come into this country and only 1,000 have gone back to France. That is costing us £600 million over 3 years. That sums up what is wrong with this country. And I'm going to add one more story before I go to my next guest. Front page of the Daily Mail, and people wonder why this station continues to get massive traction, because it's about common sense, or because it talks about the things that you, alarm clock Brits, want to talk about. Front page of the Mail. Shabir Ahmed, the vile Pakistani grooming gang leader who got 41 years concurrently for raping over 50 girls, young girls, vulnerable girls, was let out after 14 years. There was naturally a furore that he would be allowed back to live in our society amongst us and live off benefits and take advantage. So many people started pressurising the government and said, you should deport him. They made some noise and said, we're going to look into the legal ramifications. They didn't just put him on a plane to Islamabad. What did we discover overnight? We've paid £153 million in foreign aid to Pakistan, despite the fact that they're saying he's your problem, not ours. I'm sorry if people consider this sometimes a rant, but I really, like so many of you, am beginning to not have any understanding of where we're at, what we stand for, and where the hell we're going to end up. 0344 499 1000 will say a very good morning to a man, and I am not ashamed to say, should have been the Prime Minister of this country. Sir John Redwood, how are you?
I'm in good form, and you're really on cracking good form, Jeremy. So much common sense and passion that we need. Like you, I'm fed up with the fact that we get put in the corner and we're asked, well, where would you put these people if you don't want them in a shanty town and you don't want them in hotels? They haven't got the memo, have they? The public has been saying for a long time, we don't want illegals, full stop. We don't want to have the problem of how we pay them all benefits and where we find them suitable accommodation and what we then do with them and not knowing their criminal records and so forth. And I don't understand why this government cannot do the most obvious things. The opposition has woken up and understood what's got to be done. You've got to get rid of the European jurisdiction of the Human Rights Court. You've got to rescind the UN regulations and say, we are taking control of our borders, they will be sent back. And where you've got a country like Pakistan, which says it won't take people back that it ought to take back, there are some very simple things to do. You're on to one of them. You certainly cancel the overseas aid. You don't send them money to thank them for not taking their criminals back. But you should also start cancelling visas for their people and say, if you want more people to come here legally, you've got to take back the illegals.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm going to ask you specifically, I know I'm 60 years of age and people always say to me, oh, you saw Thatcher as some sort of heroine. No, I thought she was a conviction politician. She made mistakes and ultimately, and you were part of that, there were 400 MPs and if she didn't agree with you, she sacked you. And at the end of 10 years, all 400 of you went, you're out. But this was a woman, and I included Blair at the beginning, a couple of, I would say, conviction politicians with a plan who would not be deterred. Today at 2:30, actually 12 o'clock, Lucy Powell's kicking off proceedings. Big Labour a thing. And Andy Burnham will make his maiden speech as the leader of the Labour Party. On Monday becomes Prime Minister. And he is categorically, despite talking about how his government's going to be distinctly Labour, in brackets, raise taxes, close brackets, is going to blame Margaret Thatcher and her government in the 80s for what's happening. You were part of that. And I just quoted, because I saw it last night, when she answered a question in the House from somebody who talked about migration, and she went, if that's what the right honourable gentleman is advocating, he's talking about international chaos. I want to ask you this question, Sir John. If she had been aware of what was going on in Marble Arch, what would she have done? And in fact, would that ever have happened in Thatcher's Britain?
No, well, of course it wouldn't, because she quite rightly said we don't want large numbers of legal migrants, and we don't want any illegal migrants, and we had proper control of our borders in those days to put that policy through. I mean, she invited me in at a very young age to be her economic and general policy advisor, because she liked the radical common sense ideas I was putting forward and wanted my help in executing them. And we never thought that mass migration was an answer to growth. But then in those days, we were growing at 3.5% per annum. And that wasn't based on inviting lots of extra people in. That was real growth. It was more output and more real wages for the people who were living here.
Do you, when you look at the 80s and you see where we're at, what happened? In layperson's terms, and you've admitted that the Tories could have done more, the last government, how have we ended up where, and we have to be careful, both of us, but how some thug from Albania or Romania can stick his fist and hand into the face of a cameraman and reporter who are investigating, quite rightly, a story. Living next to Park Lane in a tent, probably on benefits, not a policeman or woman in sight. And this seemingly, this government and others making excuses and refusing to confront that sort of behaviour. How did we get here, John?
Well, we got here because successive governments, including some Conservative ministers in the coalition government as well, gave away too much power to European institutions and to international lawyers and to domestic quangos. And so you then, in the Sunak regime, saw ministers who were beginning to want to do the right things, who simply didn't have the powers to do them. And then a Labour government taking over, thinking that if they just gave the officials a headline, like smash the gangs, it would happen. And still not waking up to the reality. They're not in control of anything. They've got to take back control from quangos and from international lawyers and from remaining international treaties. And they've got to get on with implementing the powers that Brexit gave us. One of the big mistakes of Rishi Sunak was he didn't strip out a lot of the bad European laws. And whilst he was quite sincere in saying he wanted to stop the small boats, he wouldn't accept the advice of myself and others. To do that, you needed to repeal the powers of the European Human Rights Court, and you needed to change an awful lot of inherited EU law.
How frustrating is it, the older statesman now of politics, and I'm sure the fire in your belly remains, and it must turn your stomach in many instances, but how difficult is it to watch how, in the words of so many listeners and viewers here, we've unfurled like a flag? We just don't seem to have answers. I know I go on about it the whole time, but we seem to make excuses for everybody. And there's a word that I keep... It seems so unfair to so many people, John, and I don't understand why politicians, and you'll be able to answer this, are they not listening to millions of people? Is their finger not on the pulse? Do they not care? Do they? Why are they apparently, both Tories in the past and Labour now, almost tone deaf to the general public that elects them?
Well, because they get absorbed by their own political game. So the current government thinks that its problem is the popularity of reform. It doesn't understand that reform only started getting popular support because governments were letting people down over immigration and growth and energy prices and net zero madness and all the rest of it. And they're not willing to see they've got to change policy. Rishi Sunak failed because whilst he had listened to the public about things like mass migration, and he did start to control legal migration, he wasn't willing to upset the apple cart of the establishment and the international lawyers sufficiently to actually nail the problem of illegal migration, which was the one that annoyed people most. I still got plenty of fire and passion. I'm delighted I've been given this seat in the House of Lords, and I now find my own party is very receptive to common sense views of the kind you and your audience are telling us to adopt. But I'm also very willing to help the Labour government, because we're obviously going to be cursed with them for a bit longer. I've got my semi-red tie on this morning in honour of Mr. Burnham taking over as the new Prime Minister.
How do you feel about our Andy is on his way down to London on his penny farthing, elected by 24,927 people in Makerfield. He's going to have a distinctly Labour government. There's debates going on as to who'll be the Chancellor. Will it be Shabana Mahmood or Red Ed Miliband? Not that the markets would like that. He hasn't even started, John Redwood, and he's being told by the IMF we're skint, they're not going to lend us any more money, and the left have already raised their noses out of whichever trough it's in and said, if you don't make Miliband Chancellor, we're going to revolt already. It's an impossible job, even for the manicured Mancunian, isn't it?
Well, he's got to be brave, and he's got to realise that the markets and the IMF are telling him some very sensible things. He should remember that when Labour was unashamedly Labour 74-9, or again 2005-10, it all ended in too much spending, too much borrowing, huge increase in interest rates, and then a crash. And if that's what he wants, then he should listen to the left. But the last person we need as Chancellor is Mr. Miliband. He's done enough damage stripping out our factories and closing a lot of our big industrial plants with his sky-high energy prices and carbon taxes. That's got to be reversed, Mr. Burnham. I like it when Mr. Burnham says he wants to reindustrialise Britain. I've been talking about that for several years, as you know, Jeremy. But you start by completely changing the energy policy and cancelling net zero self-harm, which Mr. Binnerman believes in. I think Pat McFadden would be the least bad choice for the Chancellor, because at least he understands that we can't go on paying more and more money on benefits for people who don't have to even bother to try and get a job, and doing that out of taxing the rich, because he'll wake up one morning and discover there aren't enough rich left here to pay the bills.
Well, that's a really interesting point, because I said the other day, your old constituents of working, well, I'm sure would answer this, but I reckon if you knocked on doors north to south and east to west, and you asked people for the 3 or 4 big issues that really inspire them to get involved on a daily basis, it would be the immigration issue, it would be energy costs and this blind indifference and refusal to utilise the resource we've got under the North Sea whilst allowing somebody else, Norway, to drill and then buying it. This is ridiculous. And I agree with Richard Tyers. Stupid net zero. I can't have it at all. I think people would want, quite rightly, an explanation as to why we are incapable of having a discussion about the welfare benefits bill. And I say this every day, that is now bigger, we pay out, than we get in taxes through the Exchequer from people working. And this refusal of politicians, especially in the Parliamentary Labour Party, to even have that conversation, because they'll... What did he want? 5 billion off a Starmer, and they went to war. Dare he? Because they all go, what about the mentally ill? What about the disabled? No, what about the people who are faking it and feigning it and gaming the system? And the fourth thing would be, which I think is... And I know we've talked about this before, I blame the Tories as much as Labour for this. I think it is a national disgrace that we have only really just started looking at a national grooming gangs inquiry. I think there should be judicial powers at the end of it. I think it is an absolute awful look for Great Britain. If Andy Burnham, I'll ask you, because you're a wily operator, not if, do you think he's got the political nous to do one of those and throw the right completely into turmoil, John?
No, I don't think he has. I think he will keep on flipping and flopping. All his history is of a flip-flopper. You know, he was an ardent Blairite, sort of trying to pretend to be a Conservative in those days. And then he flipped to be a Corbynista, so he was then a true socialist. Now he wants to position himself as authentically, unashamedly Labour, which means a bit to the left of even where Starmer was. That is not a winning position. And he will find he'll still be attacked by the extreme left, and he'll disappoint the right in his party. But more importantly, he will disappoint normal voters who want what you just set out. I travel around this country giving talks to people and listening to what people have got to say. I still go on doorsteps from time to time. And you're absolutely right about the mood of this country, and Labour fixated by trying to tackle Nigel Farage's popularity and the Reform Party are just not getting it in any way. They don't have a political problem. They have a problem that they don't know how to govern the country.
I'm going to ask you, and it reminds me when I speak to you how we should have you on every day. You're brilliant. I want to ask you quickly about the setup of Burnham's cabinet. Many people, I've got a theory, you can tell, you know, because you see, I'm quite inspired by that time I asked you a question on the show. I remember it was about 6 months ago, and I said to you, everybody's talking about the blob, and everybody's saying, you know, you can't manage. And you said, when I was the Secretary of State, I told them exactly what I wanted, and it's on me. And if you don't do what I say, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you have to do. And I did it very politely. You've got to be careful because you don't want to get referred for bullying or whatever they now do. But yes, you've got to offer clear and consistent leadership. And I found that the bright and good officials, and there are some bright and good officials, were very keen to be properly led by a politician who knew what he wanted and had a vision for the future of that part.
It's like anything, isn't it? It's if you show yourself to have conviction, then those people will fall in behind you. Who would you have? Who do you think will be Foreign Secretary, Home Secretary and Chancellor under Ed Miliband? Oh, blimey, nearly.
Well, you're about right on that.
Under Andy Burnham. I think, just so you know, that he'll put into... I think he'll make Miliband Foreign Secretary, so he's thinking he's being promoted and he's out the way. I think that Mahmood will be Chancellor. You mentioned McFadden, and I think Wes Streeting will be Home Secretary. What do you think, John?
I think you're probably right, but I was saying what I would do in his position if I wanted him to do well. I would have McFadden brought in as Chancellor of the Exchequer. I'd keep the Home Secretary in place, because I think she's the least bad option for that very difficult job. And yes, I probably would say try and keep Miliband under some sort of control by giving him Foreign Secretary.
What
and
about...
He's got to find a decent job for Yvette Cooper, otherwise he's sacked a senior woman and he'll be in trouble.
Yeah, you see, I think that's a really salient point. Just finally, Lord Khan, or Lord Ulez, as we're calling him, or Lord Kant. In a final up yours to England, Sir Keir Starmer makes Sadiq Khan a Lord. The only thing I want to say, because I don't want to make it personal, they sent David Cameron to the Lords so that they could parachute him back in as Foreign Secretary. Do you think... Can you imagine a scenario where Sadiq Khan either ends up as in the cabinet, or is he being labelled or lined up to be the next leader? What do you think's going on here?
Well, I don't think he's being lined up to be the next leader of the Labour Party, because you can't do that from the Lords, and you can't be Chancellor of the Exchequer really from the Lords. But yes, I think he could well end up as the Labour minister in this next administration, because they all seem to like him. I just think it's extraordinary that he did still get re-elected, given the disaster that he's been in London, wrecking all the roads, making it very difficult for people to go around their daily business if they want to use a van or a car, not getting on top of the issue of disorder and violence and the pettier crimes of shoplifting, which are becoming an endemic. I think he's been very disappointing. And of course, like a lot of these jumped up regional mayors, he pontificates all the time on national issues and doesn't get on with minding the shop and running better services.
Love speaking to you. Final question. Where's our Ange going to fit into new cabinet?
Well, having a brave man would leave her out, I think, because her history is very checkered, shall we say. If you had a sense of humour as Prime Minister and saw she was still a threat, you'd give her old housing job back, because, of course, she knows all about housing, because she had her own...
See, who says that John Redwood couldn't do stand-up comedy? And I'll tell you something else that would be even better, and I find this unbelievable when the Labour left always criticised the right. Louise Haigh is Andy Burnham's right-hand woman. In fact, she's been called the enforcer. She's got everybody to fall in line. This is the woman who was sacked as Transport Secretary with a pink hair. Now she's got a stylish sort of red blob thing. She's behind Burnham's rise. She's definitely going to have to be rewarded. Tell me, I mean, Justice Secretary would be hysterical if you had a sense of humour, wouldn't it? I mean, it's extraordinary. A convicted fraudster.
Well, I mean, if you made her Justice Secretary, then it's just every day is Christmas for the Conservative opposition, isn't it? I can imagine the written questions going in as soon as Parliament's about to return. But no, I think the semi-jokey but serious proposition is she should be the true enforcer. Make her the chief whip and give her the almost impossible task of getting 400 Labour MPs to all get behind Burnham when he does start to have to make some choices, and we'll discover when you make a choice, you upset a lot of people.
John, it's an absolute pleasure always. We love having you on the show, and it always reminds me how brilliant, the man that should have been Prime Minister. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. The brilliant Sir John Redwood, former Conservative Cabinet Minister. 9:25. Morning, Jay.
Hi, Jez, a great show as always. I just want to say if Cole Turner's returning to Labour, I'll be delighted. I hope he gets a really good position. Someone, bearing in mind I'm a Reform member, but that's someone I can actually get behind. I'm still Reform, still Nigel, but I like Cole Turner, and I hope he gets a really good position, because I think that he's a fantastic guy and speaks common sense.
Here at Talk, we're giving you the chance to win a massive £26,000.
The question is, what would you do with all that money?
I don't know. We've got a wedding.
I would buy a camper van.
Probably just like clothes, yeah.
Go on a big holiday. Immigrate.
So if you fancy getting your hands on £26,000 tax-free, here's all the details you need to enter.
For your chance to win, visit talk.tv/win or text TALK to 8338 by 6 p.m. on the 20th of July 2026. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate. Or send your name and number by post to Comp 1, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP. To arrive by midnight on the 23rd of July 2026. 18 plus, UK residents only. So for your chance to win, text TALK to 8338 now. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talk.tv/win.
The number of young people claiming health benefits has doubled in the last 5 years. We have a real crisis here. I think much of it you can trace back to COVID and the whole furlough scheme. People got used to being at home. They don't understand what it's like to have a work ethic any longer. We really need to deal with the ticking time bomb of our youth, because within 10, 20 years, they're going to become the majority of our workforce. And if they're all skiving off like this, we're going to be an even bigger problem than we have now.
Yeah.
On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Sorry, welcome back. I've just been dumped in it, in my ear by Christian. You're what? Are you really? Blimey. Don't mention me. Morning, Pete.
Good morning, Jezza. I'd like to know why we are giving Pakistan £153 million in foreign aid. Why are we even giving that country any money at all? They have a large army, they have a nuclear force, they must have plenty of money, or is this country paying for that as well? And as for that episode in Hyde Park, in Marble Arch, that's an absolute disgrace. That man's face is now on there now. He should be arrested and deported. Simple as that. I mean, look at them all sitting around there. Anyway, have a nice day. Don't overheat in this heat. Well, it is a bit cooler today, isn't it? Bye-bye, mate.
It's very interesting, actually. He just said cool because it's just, yeah, you're absolutely right, Christian. It's 9:30 and the aircon is finally flowing through this studio. I am doing less of an impression that I was sitting in a sauna. I won't need to use the fan anymore. So I'm delighted that it's now working with half an hour to go. So, you know, great. 0344 499 1000, text to 87222. There's only one man, and genuinely, this man, I'm so pleased and lucky to have the guests I do. Broadcast historian, fellow at the New Culture Forum, and a man who always gets you going. Rafe Hadelman-Koo. Rafe, good morning. How are you?
All the better after that lovely introduction. Thank you.
Well, I'm trying my best today, despite much criticism, as I've always had, which is fine. I want to welcome Andy Burnham in the right way. Of course, we said bon voyage yesterday to Sir Dreary Starmer, and today we say, but I'm doing this politically correctly, Rafe. We say hello, bonjour, ciao, konnichiwa, hola, namaste. Andy Burnham on his way from Manchester on his penny farthing. He'll be addressing the Labour faithful later, where he is, and I quote, expected to promise a distinctly Labour future, but we found out 10 minutes ago he's going to blame the ills of the United Kingdom on Margaret Thatcher, Rafe.
Yes, well, no surprise there. It's back to the 1970s we go. Back to the future with Andy Burnham. This is a man, of course, about whom we know nothing, and yet he has been crowned as if he were royalty with no accountability, no scrutiny. Even his own MPs, like Slinger and others, have warned about this. And the scary thing is, I was just listening, because someone has to, I was just listening to BBC Today programme this morning, where the Mayor for Liverpool Central, Rotherham, Steve Rotherham, said, we will be absolutely deluded if we think Andy Burnham is going to be governing along the same lines as Keir Starmer. So we have now basically given the keys of office to a person who is going to embark upon an apparently revolutionary change, breaking the economic model of the last 40 years. And nobody has scrutinised him about this. This is a man who's only given an interview to LBC and Gary Lineker.
Oh, mate, I couldn't believe that. Gary Lineker's Goal Hanger podcast gets an exclusive with the Prime Minister, and, you know, I don't have to like any of them. The mainstream media, not a look in. The thing about this man is, and listen, I'm a patriot like you. I want my country to be better, but we are in a pit that we have rarely been in. I mean, he's posting how he likes a cup of tea. I suspect that the reality of Andy Burnham's political existence is that the two warnings he's had overnight, are a precursor, Rafe, to what's going to be his premiership. The IMF came out yesterday, the International Monetary Fund, the organisation we always go cap in hand to going, give us more money, which is why we're 130 billion in debt. They're saying, listen, your spending's out of control. It's not on us. That's the first thing. And the best one of all is the left are already up in arms saying, if you don't make Ed Miliband Chancellor, we're going to make your life a merry hell. He hasn't even got to London yet.
Yeah, and we've also had the OECD come out with similar warnings to the IMF. This is the reality. Andy Burnham thinks that he is basically in 1997, that new red dawn of New Labour. And he's coming out with all of these promises, record council house building. He wants a social care service. I happen to think that's a very good idea. But these aren't things you can do when we have basically a leaky roof. The IMF have warned, of course, the high debts, we've got your huge rising interest bills, increasing cost of healthcare and pensions, welfare system completely out of control, which he clearly has no desire to get tough on. We cannot afford these great schemes. Yes, if we were back in the 90s, I actually would be very, very encouraged by some of the things that he's been saying for redistributing wealth in the country. But this is not the 1990s. We have never been in a more precarious position. This is a time for championing growth and for getting the debt down. And nothing that he has come out with so far shows that he's capable of understanding that or doing that. I think we could have under Burnham an even shorter honeymoon than Keir Starmer had. This is a man who's never held properly high office before. He's never been scrutinised. The life of a mayor is far different to being Prime Minister. And I think within about 3 to 6 months, he's going to get a cold wake-up call, and we're going to be reviewing him in a very different way.
Do you know, I couldn't agree more. I think the shine will come off, obviously, by Christmas, but I think that, obviously, when you follow something as the debacle that we've experienced, I mean, sometimes I still have to sit here and pinch myself to think that literally 2 years ago, literally just 2 years ago, Keir Starmer got the biggest post-war majority in British political history, and yet they forced him out. This is a man, take him or leave him, and I would have left him all the time, who wanted to cut, let's just say this, £5 billion off a £332 billion welfare bill, a bill that now outstrips what the Chancellor gets in money, the Exchequer in tax, which means why do you work? And they wouldn't let him. By the time they'd watered that down, the hard left in the Labour Party, it wasn't even 100 million. It was ridiculous and pointless. Now, Andy Burnham, on the one hand, you can argue, he's got political capital. Now's your moment. But intrinsically inside, by that comment about Thatcher, by the things that he says, you're absolutely right. The only way that the Labour Party, in essence, know how to deal with the promises that they make that they know they can't afford is to raise taxes. We have the highest taxes for 70 years, I think, and they're going to go up. They're absolutely going to go up 1,000,000%, aren't they? They're not going to go up 1,000,000%, but I think they're going to go up.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to go up. We know that he's considering a land tax. He's refused to discount a wealth tax of perhaps 2% on the super rich.
Socialism.
And of course, we've also got his potential new Chancellor of the Exchequer, if we're to believe the report, Shabana Mahmood. Back in 2014, she embraced raising the top tax from 45 pence to 50 pence. So look, it's the same old story with Labour. And of course, you're quite right. The fact that Keir Starmer wasn't able to take those tough decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons he had to go was because of the U-turns. I don't think there's ever been a Prime Minister who made more U-turns. And that's the problem. That's why we've had so many prime ministers. Nobody is willing to stare down their backbenchers. Nobody's willing to take those tough decisions that need to be taken, even if the road is tough. That's why you don't see people like Margaret Thatcher anymore, somebody who believes it's worth being unpopular to give us the medicine that may taste foul, but which is vital for our health. And unfortunately, in today's world, particularly with social media, nobody can stand that test in the fire. And I don't think Burnham shows much hope with that either.
If we don't end up with a politician like that, whoever it is, who says, listen, warts and all this is me, that's what we need, that's my plan. If you elect me, I've said this many times, I'll take you on a journey. I will tell you the good, I will tell you the bad. We will fight and fight to make it work. And if at the end of 5 years it hasn't, you can vote me out. But if it begins to show some green shoots of recovery, stay with it. We can all sit here and talk about Margaret Thatcher. There were 400 MPs, mostly men, who disagreed with her. In the end, they got rid of her. But for 11 years, I'm going to give this to Blair at the beginning. There was a conviction politician with a plan who took on the left wing and brought in New Labour. We know how it ended for her. We know how it ended for him. But the truth of the matter is, you're so right. Our politics is full of politicians, I think, who they worry about the focus group. They worry about social media. And I get that. But you've got to be oblivious if you have the belief in what you're saying. But for me, Rafe, it rather highlights that our politicians aren't of the greatest standard anymore. Sorry, that's how I see it.
Well, there's a dearth of talent, I mean, there's no background experience. There's no hinterland to any of these characters. We just lost dear Anne Widdecombe, but I was saying at the time, she wasn't unusual 20, 30 years ago. There were great characters who were in politics. There were people that had a different life before entering the world.
Yeah.
And now there's nobody with frontline business experience on the Labour front benches. The Tory front benches don't look much better. There's no incentive for real talent to go into politics.
Why would you?
There's no deference from the public any longer. The public loathe and detest you once you are elected. And
then there's the security angle that's been highlighted this week after the horrendous death of Anne Widdecombe and all that's involved around Farage and the death threats and should politicians have security, etc., etc. No, it's a completely unattractive career to get into, and thus we end up with the mess we're in. Do you think Andy Burnham, like me, you think the gloss will come off by Christmas, Rafe, right?
I think he's going to be seen to be a fantasist. He's got blue sky thinking. I think that's great. But this is not the era or the time when we can have fantasies about building the biggest number of council houses, whilst at the same time promising to stick to, the current government's debt and spending rules. The whole idea that we can essentially send money out to the provinces and basically balance the wealth across the country. These are great schemes for good days. We're going through the toughest period, I would say, in my lifetime. This requires somebody who has a stern approach to economics, and that unfortunately Labour's track record shows that this is not the party that's going to be able to handle it.
Two quick questions. Lord Khan, in a final two fingers to the British people. Sadiq Starmer makes Sadiq a lord. We're going to call him Lord Ulez. I fear this is part of a plot to get him into the cabinet, a.k.a. David Cameron. Thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Yes, because it's so soon after he just got a knighthood. We are rewarding failure in this country. I've always wondered whether Sadiq Khan would make a move to become prime minister. He can't do that now if he has a peerage, but yes, could easily well follow Cameron's route and become a cabinet minister. But look at the hypocrisy here. Here we had Keir Starmer promising, criticising the Tories when they were giving these exits, these resignation honours, saying he wouldn't do any of that. And we've had a slew of these, not just, of course, rewarding a complete failure like Sadiq Khan. When we think about all those who've died from knife stabbing, we think about Ulez. We look at the epidemic of shoplifting in this city. But people like June Sarpong, also the BBC broadcaster going up to the House of Lords, a woman whose career is a mystery to me, and there simply has been a case of smoke and mirrors as far as I'm concerned. We are rewarding people with honours, and we are debasing the value of the honours system. I say this as somebody who wrote the definitive book on the British honours system and knighthoods, and we have a dishonourable system now.
Couldn't agree more. Final thing, my friend. I mean, we broadcast every morning, as you know, to alarm clock Brits, people who try and live their lives correctly within the law, pay their bills, bring their kids up, and they look at the issues of people coming into this country, and then they hear about people who come here. This story today sends me over the edge. Shabir Ahmed, the vile paedophile who raped over 50 young vulnerable white girls, was given 41 years concurrently, Rafe. Only served 14 out on licence. Quite rightly, most people in this country with a brain cell want that piece of whatever deported. However, the government said it was difficult, but they came out last week under Mahmood and said that they were looking at all ways to get him thrown out. For me, they said it could take years. They just put him on a plane to Islamabad, and if they didn't take him back, what do? Last night, they slip out the information that the Labour government, has given Pakistan £153 million in foreign aid. I don't want to swear because I get into trouble, but British people, hard-working Brits, are just going, you're taking the what's it out of us now. This is utterly, utterly ludicrous, Rafe.
Yes, and as you say, this was slipped out on the last day of Parliament so that nobody can actually hold them to account on this. Yeah. And I warned about this last week when I first heard, actually, that rather than give them rather than give Pakistan a tough talking to, they might actually try to win them over with a carrot rather than a stick. This stinks. It's the ultimate insult. It's £6 billion we've given to Pakistan over the last 2 decades.
Who are probably better off than we are in the United Kingdom.
And what we should be doing, of course, is saying we will not grant any visas to Pakistan, anyone who wants to come over, because, of course, we have a huge Pakistani community here, and no more aid, but they won't do it. Why won't Labour do it? Because they are so beholden to the British Pakistani vote. There's, so many frontbench MPs and others have that their majorities depend on the Pakistani British vote, and they will do anything to avoid antagonising that vote, who they are petrified will go over in even greater numbers to the Green Party. That's why they refuse to take the sort of steps we would expect any decent, strong, patriotic government to do. It is to put British people first.
Couldn't agree more. Listen, it's always an absolute pleasure to have you, my friend, and thank you. I hope you have a good weekend. We'll speak to you next week. Rafe Heidelmann-Koo, a brilliant, brilliant man. And check out the new Culture Forum. Fantastic in his work as a broadcaster. 0344 499 1000, 9:45. Who's on at 10 today? It's a double-header. Is it? How's she going to reach? Mark Dolan is here. He's 8'12", with Alex Phillips somewhere else. She's 2'3". Going to be very interesting. Very nice. Ian Collins at 1. Kev O'Sullivan in the same smelly socks on from 4 o'clock. Morning, Graham.
Hello, Jezza. Fantastic show, as always. Oh, it's Graham from Essex here, again. Just been watching and catching up. And that footage of Samara in London with those illegal people is just totally and utterly disgusting and shows the complete and utter failure of Khan. And the other thing is, I'd have the House of Lords scrapped. Scrap it. They're useless. They're expensive to the British taxpayer. They just need to be got rid of. So not even Khan or anybody else can become a bloody lord, because they're a waste of time. It should become a voted second chamber. So they are responsible and answerable to us, the people of Britain. Really has made me so angry, and I'm pretty much lost for words with some of the stuff you've been showing. It just beggars belief, really does. Anyway, keep up the good work, and bye.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. 13 minutes to 10 and no week would be complete. Yes, I've done 5 whole days. It's the future. 0344 499 1000. Let's say a very good morning to royal biographer and a woman who puts a spring in my step and my hat at a jaunty angle, Angela Levin. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, before we get into anything royal, Angela, this is very important. It seems from nowhere, mainly because our new Prime Minister thinks it makes it look human if he posts a story about how he does his tea, because he's on where from north on Penny Farthing to Downing Street to beat Prime Minister. He says you put the tea bag in. Joking. And then you have the milk first, then the tea bag, then the water, which is heinous to me. You're a lady of quality, I'm sure, who has a butler, to be honest. But how do you make a cup of tea, Levin?
Well, how I make a cup of tea is if I don't use milk in my tea, I just have green tea and I have other sort of things. I don't...
Other things? What? What do you put in it? Mushrooms?
Well, I have various combinations of different flowers or different smells or things like that.
I worry, Liz, I don't want to upset you, but you're sounding remarkably like Meghan Markle. I thought you'd be a Yorkshire tea.
Meghan Markle.
You what?
I'm nothing like Meghan Markle, let me tell you that. But if I did have tea with milk,
yes.
I would use milk first, then tea from proper leaves. If I have something to dab in, then I would never use milk.
I love you. It's just brilliant. The fruit tea-loving, non-Meghan Markle royal biographer with class. Angela Levin, thank you for joining us. There's quite
Is that all I'm saying today?
What? What?
Is that all you want me to say today?
No, I've loads more. Okay. Loads more. Oh, what would your welcome be for Andy Burnham? Are you looking forward to him being the Prime Minister?
I would use a word that begins with F.
Brilliant.
And the second word would be O.
Brilliant. So she's just told Andy Burnham to... Brilliant. Angela,
yes.
There is a royal source overnight revealing the single most well, the only reason that Prince William, or the single most important reason why he will almost never reunite with estranged brother Harry is trust, something I completely agree with him on.
Well, ironically, I wrote a long piece for Australia and it came out yesterday, and it has all those sorts of feelings about me. And I worked out exactly what had happened, why William will absolutely, definitely have no nothing to do with Harry. And I can tell you very quickly if you want to know.
Of course I do.
Good. Okay. Well,
let's begin, children.
Let's begin. Sit down and have a nice cup of tea.
Okay. Come on, Mummy.
No.
That didn't sound right,
the first thing is in Harry's book, Spare, right, where he said that William was trapped in what he's doing in the royal family. And so, you know, he's got nowhere and he's got no experience. So actually, William didn't like that, surprise, surprise.
No.
And Harry was also very rude about Catherine, and he was very cross about that. So that puts him out of the picture, all right? And that went on. That was with Oprah Winfrey in 2021. And then it's on because Harry seems to want to play like a silly child. Here they are playing like silly children, but William's grown out of that, the picture. But Harry wants to make William very unhappy. So he behaves like a child, in fact, almost like a baby. And William is not a baby or a child. He's grown up and he's responsible because he's heir to the throne. So we now want someone who is sensible. And Harry is absolutely ludicrous, sticking out his tongue, playing with somebody who is very fat and pushes her back and forth as he hugged her, and all sorts of things like that actually are disgusting.
When did he stick his tongue out and push a fat person backwards and forwards like a weeble? When did that happen?
Well, there was an Invictus game thing, and he was there having a game, and he played this and sort of pushing and sticking his tongue out, which he thinks is funny. I think is absolutely disgusting.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Charles is said to be interested in healing family wounds, whereas, which I think is really interesting. I get that. He's ill. He's living with cancer. He's 70-something. He probably his boys. My parents went through that. But William is more focused on securing the monarchy, and I've always said I believe that he is ingrained in William, because he's going to be the next monarch, from his grandmother, how important it is. And I think he takes duty very seriously, but I also think he takes his family very seriously, and we should never underestimate what it's been like to watch his wife battle cancer with 3 young children. And I make no apology for this. She and he are the future of the British monarchy, and frankly, I'm not interested. You made your bed, lie in it, for me, Harry. But I've got to ask you before you go, this is extraordinary. Meghan, the worst, Netflix lifestyle show that's been axed, where she sort of showed how to make a rainbow thing of fruit.
Maybe
I've got to play.
Even a cup of tea.
I've got to play this very quickly, people. This sums up this programme. Have a watch.
You see where our rainbow is coming together here? And you don't have to do a big platter of this. You could do this with one small row for your kids for breakfast, genuinely, and it makes the morning a lot more fun. But can I just show you if you just made one? Just a little morning plate. It's a real delight in being able to be a present parent. And it's a luxury sometimes because we all have to work. We all have a lot of stuff to do, but when you can take a minute to just...
Saturday morning.
Yeah. Finding the fun in those moments makes for a really sweet start to the weekend.
Angela, 2 things I want to ask you. One is, right, nobody I know has got time to do a plate like that. But 2, I'd like your reaction to the unbelievably shocking news that programme, which is utter crap and has been axed by Netflix, has been nominated for a Daytime Emmy Award.
Yes, for the second one, I imagine that they've paid for it. They paid for a great number of prizes. and they won't say we have given them vast amounts of money, but that's really what they do most of the time. So you can take no notice of that. And the other thing is that putting all that fruit around. I mean, I've had three sons to get off to school and everything. Who've got any of that time? The children aren't that interested to have a beautiful rainbow in the morning. Absolute nonsense. I don't believe it. That's all because you can't do anything that's really interesting. Anyone can cut up raspberries.
Levin, I love you. Please don't go on holiday. We'll speak to you next week, and I don't even want to stick my tongue out to you. Love you loads. Angela Levin, royal biographer on Talk Breakfast. Back in 3.
I thought about it hard, and I've decided today I will resign as a Member of Parliament for Clacton-on-Sea, thereby forcing a by-election.
Count Binface apparently is now 5-1. Brilliant. You know, so look, I mean, you know, if I were being flippant, I'd say Count Binface's campaign is now well and truly up and running, and Reform are struggling to put a lid on it.
Let me be absolutely clear. I have done nothing wrong. I have not broken the law.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. 2 minutes to 10. Mark Dolan is here, looking brilliant. And I just described your new producer, Dean. I had him on breakfast. He sort of failed to get into the Anywhere's Essex. She said he's very talented but a bad person, which is...
in the media, those are the best people. I'm trying to up my game. How do I follow that? What a brilliant 4 hours, Jezza.
Thank you.
And CPAC matters. What the heck is it? It sounds like some kind of medication, but it's the Conservative right in this country.
Yes.
And the big question is going to be whether they need to collaborate, whether they should coordinate. We've got another left-wing Prime Minister coming in.
Yep.
Even more left-wing than Sir Keir Starmer.
Who?
So should they settle? Well, exactly. Showbiz is harsh, isn't it? Should they settle their differences? They all mostly think the same things. Rupert Lowe, Kemi Badenoch, Nigel Farage. They're all Conservatives. Wake up.
Interesting. CPAC, Alex